And welcome back. It's nice to have all of you here with us. We're going to go live well, we are already live. It's my bad for saying that. But yeah, we're going to be doing Pac-12 Championship Game. I'm really excited to be on here with you all, and I'm a little tired, but that, is what it is. And we're here. And I'll be doing play-by-play, commentary, really all things college football on here. So that's what's up. This game will be Zach Scout, Green Team Solidarity. I don't know who I'd be cheering for. I want it to be a good game. I don't have any specific interest, I would say. I think Oregon is going to win because I think they're the better team, but that's beside the point. I think most people believe that Oregon is the better team. Washington's the underdog. I think Washington is the better coaching staff, but Oregon's all around the better team, and it's hard to beat the better team twice. Plus, this will be on a neutral field, so Washington will no longer have home field advantage. Bruce Scotland, take a nap. No, because I want to watch this game and I'm ready for college football. And it will be hard the weeks following championship week where I'll have to wait for the actual exciting bowl games to come up. So no thank you. Howdy do, Sam and everyone. Almost game time. Yes, it is 8 p.m. right now. So this game should be kicking off at any moment. Zach Scout, how will you react if Michigan loses to Iowa? I will be irate. I will tell you that. I would be enraged. And Michigan should not be in the playoff if they lose to Iowa. Marcus Sutton, let's go Dogs. Go Dogs. And I think, yes, I see the ESPN ABC logo coming up. That's what's on the agenda right now. Dr. Pepper Championship Week. Let's see what happens. Yeah, this matchup, which occurred earlier this season on October 14th of 2023, that was nearly 2 months ago, really a month and a half ago. Washington won 36-33 because Oregon settled for 2 field goals. So Washington was more efficient in the red zone. And also in this game, the Huskies were 2 of 3 on 4th down. Oregon was 0 of 3 on 3rd down. Or on 4th down, rather. The Ducks outgained the Huskies in both rushing and in passing yards. They had a total of 126 more yards than the Huskies did, and yet they lost by 3. And they also won the turnover battle, but essentially those 4th down misses were turnovers in a large sense of the term. Mikey260MK, Zach, I will do the hallelujah dance. Bruce Scotland, actually, this is Sheila. Well, welcome on the channel, Sheila. Zach Scout, I predict the biggest game of Iowa's history, a 4-7 loss. You're funny. You are funny. I'm hoping that we can get about like a few hundred people on concurrently at once. I don't know how much people are interested in Pac-12 football, but this is the final Pac-12 championship game. So I'm here to watch good football. And I've been tired for the past few days. I don't exactly know why, but this will help. I think it's because I'm realizing we're coming to the end of the college football season, and a lot of my excitement is from the college football season. A lot of it is. So it's sad, but it is what it is. Looks like the stands are relative. Well, this was from earlier. Stands are probably more full than that. But I don't imagine that Allegiant Stadium is going to be packed. I mean, maybe it will be. We'll see. I also did get a haircut. I know that many of you who are on this live stream right now are consistently on my streams. So my hair is no longer super long. It just is short, medium length, I guess. So there's that. I feel a lot better after getting that haircut. Yeah, at this point, we're just... Marcus Sutton, let's go Dogs. I'll stop spamming now, sorry. Oh, you're good. Should be a great game tonight. And this game is... Let me tell you, this game's massive. Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler are going to be calling this game. We got Michael Penix Jr. versus Bo Nix. I don't think the Heisman vote is going to change. I think it will be Jaden Daniels, and I don't think if Jaden Daniels wins the award, he's being snubbed. Bo Nix is definitely going to be a finalist. I don't know if Penix will be a finalist. I don't. Bucky Irving is over 1,000 rushing yards. Dylan Johnson is nearly over 1,000 rushing yards. Troy Franklin and Rome Odunze each have more than 10 receiving touchdowns and more than 1,000 receiving yards. I'm excited. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm excited for this game. Whew. Can't come any sooner. Oh, TV was already muted. New Mexico State and Liberty are battling it out right now. New Mexico State's up 14-7. Liberty is first and 10 at their own 45. New Mexico State will play in 15 total games this season. They could go 12-3, 11-4, 10-5. Weird combination. It's a combination that will be very common when the 12-team playoff comes around. But not common right now. It's actually very foreign, honestly, to see that kind of record in college football. Very foreign. I think that tomorrow, I think that Georgia will beat Alabama. I think that Michigan will beat Iowa. I think that Texas beats Oklahoma State. And I think Tulane beats SMU. It sounds like Tate Rodemaker, he is a game-time decision for Florida State, so I don't know if my prediction of Florida State winning that game will still be accurate. I really don't know that. Right now, Florida State's only favored by 1.5 points. I think it says a lot that they might play their third-string quarterback and they're still favored to win. I would still lean Florida State because I didn't think Rodemaker was anything special, and I still picked him to win. And I think that Florida State's just overall the better team than Louisville, but I don't know. That game I will be watching for sure, along with the Big Ten Championship game between Michigan and Iowa. And they're still doing advertisements. What's the actual kickoff time of this game? Oregon versus Washington kickoff time. Oh, well, they're back. It'll probably be on pretty soon. What do you predict Michigan's 2024 record to be if they lose the Natty this season? You mean like if they just don't win the playoff, or if they, I don't know. I think McCarthy probably comes back unless he's the reason we win our playoff games, and I don't know if I trust him that much. And I think that Donovan Edwards comes back because he hasn't had the breakout massive season that I expected him to. So I think that Michigan next season is either going to be 10-2 or 11-1 in the regular season, in spite of their extremely tough schedule, because I think they're very deep. But I don't think they win the Big Ten next season. I think that Penn State has a schedule advantage, and they'll have an upside, an experience advantage. And I think Ohio State, they'll have that upside advantage, probably an experience edge too. And I think Ohio State, they always recruit better. And I anticipate, maybe I'm wrong here, I anticipate that some staff changes are going to be made for Ohio State. I think there have to be some changes, honestly. I mean, strength and conditioning has been a real disappointment ever since 2021. It just has. It has. Even in 2020, there were some pretty bad injuries as well. So the Buckeyes have not been the strongest Big Ten team on the strength and conditioning front in closer to a half decade than 1 year. And this will be their third season in a row not making it to the Big Ten Championship game. So that's really all I'm saying, is that I think Michigan is still going to be one of the better teams in the Big Ten. And I think power rankings-wise, the top four will be some combination of Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and Oregon. It'll be the top four in one way or another. All right. It looks like that Liberty just scored. They're going to tie it up 14-14 with, bless me, 5 minutes and 38 seconds left in the second quarter. This game is about to begin. I'm going to take a quick ad break, and then we will be back. And this stadium is packed, so this is going to be a high-intensity Pac-12 Championship game. But I'll be right back. I'm just going to get a drink of water. All right. See you guys soon. And we're back. We are back. Do you believe the rumors of Jim Harbaugh going to Chicago? I didn't hear those rumors. I don't know what I'm going to say to that. I'm just going to say to be determined. I believe there's a better chance now than ever that he'll leave, and if he doesn't leave after this season, I don't think he'll ever leave. Wouldn't shock me. I mean, with all these like sanctions and stuff going on, who knows? Because there are going to be sanctions that hit. Mikey2670MK says 8-4. Let me look at Michigan's 2024 schedule here. Michigan in 2024. Michigan football 2024 schedule. The Michigan Wolverines play Fresno State, Texas, Arkansas State, USC, Minnesota, at Washington, bye week, at Illinois, Michigan State, Oregon, at Indiana, bye week, Northwestern, Ohio State. Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, USC, and Texas are the big losable games that I see. And I think Michigan probably wins 3 or 4 of those and loses 1 or 2. But that's just my opinion. I think that the most losable game will be at Ohio State, and the second most losable I would expect to be either Oregon or Washington. I think USC next year it'll be a tough job. And Texas, I'm curious to see how Texas does traveling to Michigan. Oh, by the way, Alabama travels to Wisconsin, so there will be some SEC Big Ten crossover stuff that happens next season. That's something that I'm excited about. Sam, do you think Ohio State sneaks into the playoffs again if FSU, Washington, and Texas lose? Alabama losing is probably the most important out of all of those. If Alabama loses, I could see an 11-1 OSU get in over a 12-1 Texas, because then Texas's win means about as much as Ohio State's over Penn State, and then Ohio State is the better loss. So I'd say replace Texas losing with Alabama losing. There's a very good chance that happens. I think the best combination is Florida State, Oregon, Texas, and Alabama losing, because a 12-1 Washington could get in over an 11-1 Ohio State. With that scenario, I would say it's unlikely with your scenario, but it is possible. The more upsets that occur, the more, or not upsets, but the more undefeated teams win and the more one-loss teams lose in conference championship week, the better for Ohio State, who I think can sneak in at best is probably the 4 seed. Now I'm beginning to get excited because this game's about to begin. The stands are packed. That's all I'm going to say. And they're about to kick off. I might be a few seconds behind, but let's just have some fun. It's going to be beautiful. And here we go. Alrighty. There. Just had to adjust my seating. The final Pac-12 Championship game begins. Number 3 Washington against number 5 Oregon, and the Huskies are coming on the field first to face an Oregon defense that is top 15, or I think top 10 in scoring defense. An Oregon defense that has over 30 sacks on the season. And what you need to do if you're Washington is you need to target their secondary. I don't think you're going to run on Oregon in the same way that they're going to run on you. You need to have the better passing attack to win. All right, tight formation, play action pass that is not caught by Jalen McMillan. Be 2nd and 10. All right. 2nd and 10 at their own 25 for Washington. Now they spread out some of their receivers. Odunze, McMillan, Penix is back there with Dylan Johnson, and he hands it off to Johnson, and Johnson gets a gain of 9, so it'll be 3rd and 1. Let's see if the Huskies try to run the ball again. They're so good, the Huskies are, at getting open holes. They have one of the best offensive lines in the country. Parker Brailsford has done a great job at center, and then Roger Rosengarten, and their tackles are great. This is an awesome offensive line. It's a really good offensive line. Oregon's defensive line, though, they're great at getting pressure, and they're better in the past at stopping the run as well. Jeremy Bernard is going to get the direct snap, and they get it barely, so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Washington Huskies at their own 35. By the way, Oregon was given about a 75% chance to win this game according to FPI, so they are heavy favorites here. My prediction was Oregon 38 and Washington 31. That was my prediction for this game, because I thought that Oregon was going to win, but Washington would cover. Penix is back there. It was a play action. He's well protected, and he checks it down and somehow gets a gain of 7 or 8 to Dylan Johnson. He was almost sacked for like a 10-yard loss. But that offensive line's 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, he had like 5, 6, or 7 seconds clean in the pocket. That's all the time in the world. So, great protection. Oregon showing pressure. Maybe they'll back off, but Penix is going to check the play. He has Johnson back with him. Washington has really been able to lean on that run game at times. And it's a pitch, and it's well blocked, but Oregon defends it even better. Only a gain of 1, or maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Will be 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. "12 minutes and 30 seconds remain in the first quarter. 3rd and 2. At their own 44. Penix is back there with Johnson. All his receivers are to the right of his. It's like Oregon is potentially lining up in some man. And McMillan is able to get around on a screen. And he'll be out to the Oregon 44. So a good gain right there, using motion to deceive Oregon's defense. That was great. So no deep shots taken yet, but still a few first downs picked up, and they're able to use the run game and the short pass, the Huskies are, to get into Oregon territory. Rome Odunze gets about a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5 at the Oregon 39-yard line. And there's an injured Oregon player that sucks. Jordan Birch, hopefully he's okay. We never like injuries here, but thankfully Jordan Birch is getting up, able to walk it off. It's great. Hopefully he's okay. And they're sending out Mateo Uiagalelei, who's a 5-star out of high school. Really good player. Seven plays, 36 yards, almost 4 minutes of clock wiped off. The Huskies can and will control you, using the pass almost like the run, and nearly picked off there by Kyrie Jackson. Penix threw a very risky pass. It's number 5, actually. Pardon me, not number 2. It was a miscommunication right there. Thought that Odunze was going to come on, I think, an out route, and he just went vertical. And Kyrie Jackson nearly had a pick, but Penix has taken responsibility for that. So 3rd and 5, they're in Oregon territory. I think they'll go for it here if they don't get it. Unless it's a sack, then you might as well punt. 5 seconds left on the play clock. They might need to take a timeout here. Yup, they're going to have to take a timeout. So some miscommunication. And it's important that they score here first, because this Oregon team, let me tell you, they are vicious. Vicious Oregon team. They're in the Ducks territory, though. Let's check the chat. Okay, I've never been as invested in the Pac-12 until this year. Oregon, Washington, and the resurgence of Arizona have been more exciting than most of the Big Ten. I agree with that. And off topic, Nebraska retained Tony White. He's the 2nd highest paid defensive coordinator. That's great. I assume you fended off USC to get him, is what I'm assuming occurred. Also, my head's rather warm, so I'm going to take off my hoodie. But yeah, I think that that's good, frankly, that Nebraska retained Tony White. Nebraska's defense was not their problem this season. It was the offense. And they didn't have good personnel, so you can't necessarily blame their There are faults there. Challenger Gamer, go blue. Nice to have you with us. Who do you think MSU will take as defensive coordinator? I don't know, but some in-conference options are Mike Tressel, Joe Rossi. Those are two in-conference options that I would like. Out-of-conference options, I have no clue. I don't. I heard that Tom Allen was rumored to be offered, I think, the USC or maybe MSU defensive coordinator position. Let me confirm this by looking it up. But I think he might have declined. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, I think he might have been offered the USC defensive coordinator job, but declined. So, on that front, who knows? Ultimately, I think that Mike Tressel and Joe Rossi are some pretty good options for Michigan State. These are in-conference guys who know how to recruit and develop. Tressel would be, I think, the most obvious choice. I think he's an elite defensive coordinator, but that's just me. And we have 10 likes. That's great. Thank you all for liking the video and supporting the channel. I very much appreciate it. Yeah, tomorrow will be probably a better day for college football. I mean, just because today only has one game. But this is a nice drive that Washington's putting together. I mean, 8 plays, 36 yards. They're averaging just in between 4 and 5 yards per play. Really. $11 minutes and 9 seconds remaining. It's very important here. Very tight, Washington is, and Johnson is back there. Odunze motions out to the right of Penix. They're well blocked and protected, and Odunze has the ball first down at about the Oregon 27. So the Huskies are now in field goal range, and they're close to getting in the red zone here. Oh, there. That feels good. At 1st and 10 at the Oregon 27. Odunze's really good. He might be better than Marvin Harrison Jr. this year. He might be the nation's best wide receiver, and that's crazy to say. All right, late handoff to Dylan Johnson, who barrels forward. It's going to be about 2nd and 5 at the Oregon 22. So I think the Huskies are getting points here, but we'll have to see. Again, nice blocking. Washington is able to open up holes in this Oregon front. Oregon has all but 2 of their players. They have 9 players within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Now they back off just a little bit. And they're going to run it again, and that was just a wide open hole. It's going to be 1st down and 10. Oregon sent pressure there, about 5 or 6 men forward, and there was just a gaping hole. Let me see. Right there, that's Parker Brailsford getting an elite block. The interior, everyone was involved there. Everyone was assigned to their man, and they did not give up whatsoever. 1st and 10 at the Oregon 15. This is a time-consuming drive, well-balanced, 5 rushing plays, 6 passes, no explosive plays yet for Washington. They are really... And Penix is going to be sacked. No. I thought he was sacked, but we'll see. Was he down? That's the question. I thought he was sacked, but I don't know if his knee touched. Let's see. He was pressured pretty quickly. Brailsford was basically blown over. I think Penix's right knee was down. Yup, it's gonna count as a sack. He was sacked. Chimichanga guy, rumor has it that Dante Moore from UCLA is interested in transferring to Ohio State. Just rumors, though. That wouldn't shock me. It sounds like Michigan State's going to be interested in him as well. All right. The second I look up Mike Tressel, I see him from when he was at MSU. Yeah, he's at Wisconsin right now as their defensive coordinator. I don't want Dante Moore at Ohio State. He seems like he has character issues, says Jadaman. I've heard before that he's basically obsessed with making money in college, but I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know him personally. I wish the young man the best. JT Sports, good to have you on here. Welcome in, my friend. This is too easy right now. I'll tell you what, Washington's melted off nearly half of the clock in this quarter. I think they really want to wear down that Oregon defense. This is a great game plan right now. Because Oregon will outlast Washington in a shootout. All right, 3rd and 16. Dylan Johnson was knocked down. He tried to get to the edge and was tackled very quickly. 54 yards, 13 plays. This is a very complex drive, let me tell you. Third and 16. Will Oregon bring pressure? You know that Penix is going to try and find a Dunze. Looks like Oregon is going to bring a blitz of probably 6 or 7 guys. They bring 6 or 7 and incomplete. Tried to target McMillan, but he was double covered and Oregon was able to deflect that one right away. That was number 0 and number 33 for Oregon. That being defensively Tysheem Johnson and Evan Williams, the safety and noseback, were in coverage, and Tysheem Johnson knocked it right away. And Odunze was covered by Kyrie Jackson. Oregon is the better defense than Washington, that's all I'm telling you, so Washington will have to out-execute him on the defensive front. Grady Gross from 38 yards. Snap is good, and kick is good. So 3-0 Washington. They take the initial lead on their drive, and right there, only 7 minutes and 34 seconds are left on the clock. Washington burned essentially half of the quarter on that drive. Very impressive from a TOP perspective and game control perspective. What do you all think after that? All right. Hello, amazing. How are you? And Chimichanga guy, it's so weird seeing Washington chew clock. Well, I'm going to pardon me for looking stuff up. By the way, can all of you hear me? Just want to double check. College football stats. I say this because there's an interesting statistic. It's called seconds per play that gives you a perspective of how often you chew clock, essentially. Like who are the teams that like to take the longest? And Michigan chews up about 31 seconds per play, which is 132nd. Washington's 81st in seconds per play. They are not a tempo team. They use tempo like how Ohio State does. It's extremely selective. I'd expect Oregon to be top 25. I can't imagine that it's not that they don't care a ton, but they're not probably as concerned about chewing the clock as a Washington is. But maybe I'm wrong there. Let me see. I find that they're 91st. They chew 27.3 seconds per play. I find that often the more successful teams control the clock. That's not always a constant, but Georgia, they're 124th in seconds per play. Michigan's 132nd. Kansas, 113th. Oregon State, 104. Iowa, 102. Alabama, 98th. James Madison, 94th. Penn State, 87th. Ohio State, 83rd. Florida State, 82nd. You look at the teams inside of the top 10, and those teams are Colorado State, Colorado, North Carolina, North Texas, Old Dominion, Utah State, Texas Christian, Tennessee, South Florida, and Jacksonville State. Controlling the clock, especially with the new clock rules, is a sign of success. It's not a sign of failure. It's not a sign of being conservative. That's a big win for Oregon. Field goals will not win this game. I absolutely agree. Blank name. As a Michigan fan, would you hate Ohio State to get in? Tough question. I predicted them to get in the preseason, so them getting in actually helps my credibility. Plus, I would love to see Ohio State get back in so Michigan could beat them again, and so that Michigan versus OSU, guaranteed Big Ten national championship game, kind of like the SEC had in 21 and also 17. That would be pretty cool. I wouldn't hate Ohio State to get in. I would not hate that whatsoever. But I would tell them that, I'd tell them, and by them I mean Michigan, what I would say is, you have to be prepared for Ohio State, because this Ohio State team matches up better with Michigan than the previous two teams had. They're pretty equal, Michigan and Ohio State, in terms of matchups. But we're back on. The Huskies are kicking off. They erased most of that first quarter. Let's see what Bo Nix and Oregon can do. Part of me wouldn't be shocked if they marched down the field pretty quickly. Bo Nix this season's number 2 in QBR. He leads the nation in completion percentage and passing yards per game. Pretty phenomenal of a player. Both of these teams have elite offensive lines. And Oregon, Oregon is a team that scares me as a Michigan fan. They'd be the team that I'd hate to see the most if I were Michigan. And play action pass, Bo Nix throws it right to the ref. The ref just batted it down. He was playing defense right there. Yeah. Yeah, it hit his hand. Let me see. Yeah, it hit his arm. Ref tried to move out of the way, but he threw it right to the ref. You can see it on his camera. That's pretty funny. He just kind of used his arm to bounce it. That was pretty funny. All right. 2nd and 10. Washington shows pressure, but they back out pretty quickly. And another off pass. Oregon there was intending to hit their number 1 guy, Troy Franklin, an All-American caliber wide receiver there. It'll be 3rd and 10. If Washington can get off the field quickly, they can tire out Oregon's defense, potentially build a 2-score lead, and force Oregon to play catch-up. That'd be very interesting here. Right now, Bo Nix is going 5 receiver look. He's there in the backfield. Washington looks like they want to creep up and maybe do a corner or safety blitz, but they don't. They just send 4. And incomplete again to Troy Franklin. Broken up there by Dixon, the corner. It'll be 4th and 10, a quick 3 and out. That was about 10 seconds chewed up. That's pretty humiliating. But it is just, with the new clock rule, drives are more important. The margin of error for every team is shorter than it ever has been before, because you can milk the clock. All right. Jeremy Bernard is going to return this punt, and he has some space. Jeremy Bernard, and he'll be out right there at the 50-yard line. So great field position for the Huskies, and that's encouraging. Dan Lanning looks a little shocked right now. Well, maybe my pick on the game's wrong, but my pick on the spread's correct. After all, some people only care about covering, which I think is lame, but it is what it is. And I'll answer your comments at the next commercial break. And in the next commercial break, which might... No, it won't happen because it was a quick 3 and out. Next commercial break that occurs, I will be playing an ad. All right, but midfield, if you're Oregon's defense, you gotta hope you can get him a 3 and out. I think you're tired right now. All right. Another pass out of the backfield. And that right there is number 2. I think that is Jalen Polk. Yes, Jalen Polk's projected to be a 3rd or 4th round selection, according to ourlads.com. Odunze and Fatanu, the number 1 receiver and tackles, along with Braylon Trice, are projected to be top 2 round selections. That is a gaping hole for Dylan Johnson. Holy cow. They're parting the Red Sea there. 1st and 10 for Washington. That was a 17-yard run for Dylan Johnson, who has 7 carries for 42 yards. That right there was a gaping. That was a 2022 Michigan Oluwatimi just getting in there double teaming people type of hole. That was nuts. All right. Yeah, right now we're seeing Washington do exactly what they were able to do to Oregon early this season. Penix is milking down that clock. You only have 6 minutes left in the game, and Jalen Polk is going to get a gain of 8. It'll be 2nd and 2 at the Oregon 19. So in the red zone again, Washington is, and they're chewing up clock. They're going to have over 10 minutes of TOP after the first quarter. I guarantee you. Oregon, after this drive, needs a long drive, preferably some runs by Bucky Irving, Jordan James, maybe a designed QB run or option look for Bo Nix. Because I don't think any of these defenses are going to put up with a one-dimensional offense unless it's a passing game. And Washington right now is trying to keep them honest. Another run, Dylan Johnson gets, that's a gain of 7. From the 19 to the 12 of Oregon will be 1st and 10 from the Oregon 12. Dylan Johnson now has 47 rushing yards on 8 carries. It's just crazy. The Huskies are marching down the field, imposing their will. Yeah, right now, Washington has had the ball for 10 minutes. Not even kidding. Late handoff, and that stopped. That right there is Nixon. Will Nixon. Justin Jacobs, I think, with the tackle. So it'll be 2nd and 9 from the 11. Yeah, it's just Justin Jacobs. Good linebacker. 4 minutes and 5 seconds. That Washington offensive line has been owning Oregon's defensive line. Penix chewing his mouth guard. He is a leader, and I think he's going to have to play a great game overall for victory. Incomplete, but it looks like there'll be pass interference right there on Manning. Yeah, Odunze was being covered by Manning, and I think that's a mismatch right there. Manning is one of their cornerbacks, and he's not as good as Kyrie Jackson. That's a mismatch right there. The number 1 receiver or number 2 receiver in the country on a cornerback who I honestly didn't know of before this game. But granted, I watch more of the Big Ten than the Pac-12. I've been familiarizing myself with the Pac-12. That doesn't mean I know every one of these players. Yeah, he was grabbing and shoving Odunze. I mean, if you don't think that's a penalty, I don't know what you're smoking, but it's something. So now, 1st and 4 at the Oregon 6. It's 1st and goal, pardon me, at the Oregon 6, Oregon 5. There's going to be a toss that's wide open. Touchdown. Oregon went tight defensively, thinking a run up the middle, and that was perfect, using Dylan Johnson's speed to get outside. Washington is going to be taking a 10-0 lead, and they are going to have as many or more rushing yards as passing yards. Yup, Yeah, they blocked it up perfectly. That whole offensive line, tight ends, receivers were going to the right, and Oregon was crashing down the middle. That was a perfect call. Absolutely perfect call. Huskies are going to take a 10 to nothing lead. In the way they're playing right now, I'm telling you, Washington has a good ceiling. I don't think it's as high of a ceiling as Oregon has, but it's a good ceiling nonetheless. All right, so the Huskies right now, they have 10 minutes and 49 seconds of possession, and we're not even at the end of the first quarter. The Huskies went from only having like a 25% chance to win. Now they have a 51.4% chance to win. They've taken this game over, factually speaking. Sam, are you worried about Michigan's schedule next year? I kind of am, and I'm an OSU fan. I hope that we have another 11-0 versus 11-0. Well, that's actually my prediction as of now, and that could change. That could very easily change depending on draft declarations and like transfers and all that different stuff. But I think I'm predicting 11-0 versus 11-0 for the third year in a row again. I just think Ohio State this time will get the better. I think they'll win. I think I said at the beginning of this season, you can't afford to lose the game this season, but it wouldn't be a death knell. I think it will be a death knell for Ryan Day next season. Oh, that Shaq commercial's cool. Shaq's a cool guy. He is. Also very wealthy. And elite basketball player, but I think we already knew that. I think we'll have another 11-0. Washington had the ball for 8 minutes. Oregon had it for 10 seconds. And yeah, just to add on to that point, Michigan has an extremely tough schedule. Ohio State, let's actually talk about their schedule for now. But before I do, I'm going to insert a quick ad break. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. Think I just didn't want to be talking while all of you were watching ads. But here we are. Ohio State's 2024 schedule is Akron, Western Michigan, bye. Marshall at Michigan State, Iowa at Oregon, bye. Nebraska at Penn State, Purdue at Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan. Actually, so I'm tired. My bad. I forgot about that road game at Penn State. I think there's a very good chance that I think it's unlikely that both of these teams enter 11-0 because Ohio State playing at Oregon and at Penn State is tough in the same way that Michigan playing at Washington is tough, and that's before the game occurs for all those teams. Also Michigan hosting Texas, hosting Oregon. It's going to be tough. Penn State hiring Andy Kotelnicki. I had an off day yesterday, and by off day I don't mean like bad day, I mean I took a break. So when that news broke, I'm like, okay, I'll do a video today. Well, I've been very tired, and I think I just need like some cool down period so I don't get burned out. So I'll be talking about that hiring, and instead of it being breaking news, it'll be more of a deep dive into Kotelnicki and what I think it means for Penn State. I think the Nittany Lions have a very good chance of winning the Big Ten next season. Very good chance. Am I going to predict it? For now, no. But it is what it is. Okay. The game is back on, and then I'll come back to all of your comments and stuff. But, you know, I'd say for now I'd probably pick Ohio State to win all of their games on their schedule except for Penn State. And I think for Michigan, I'd pick them to win all their games except for OSU. So I think Michigan and OSU will be 11-1. I'd say Penn State probably goes 12-0 or 11-1. And Ohio State with that head-to-head win probably rematches with Penn State and Indy. But we'll have to see. That's just a way too early look, just from based off of my opinion. But Oregon right now, their defense is tired. They have to get points here because Washington has all the momentum. They've taken the game over. You can tell Oregon is stunned. They're going to hand it off and right into a deep defensive line. That was Bucky Irving. And that was against number 11 defensively, Alfonso Tuputala, their linebacker, their weak side linebacker. 2nd and 9 for Oregon. They're going to check the play. Bucky Irving remains in the backfield along with Terrence Ferguson. And at wide receiver, you have Franklin, you have Trayshawn Holden, and you have Tez Johnson in this game. They motion out Bucky, and Irving is not going to get to the first down, but he does get a good gain. It'll be 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, so a chance to run. Bucky Irving is a phenomenal running back. He is my favorite non-Big Ten running back. Obviously, as a Michigan fan, I'm tilted toward Blake Corum. But objectively speaking, I'd probably say Bucky Irving is my favorite running back. He has home run speed. He's healthy. He's a weapon in the receiver room, too. He's just great. What's not to like about Bucky Irving? Seriously. And Nix is getting chased. He's going to have to throw it away, and that could be intentional grounding. But another 3 and out. Another 3 and out for Oregon. They're going to have to punt it away. Washington blew up that play. That was a sprint out. That was Nix sprinting out to his right side, and he thought he had a pass, but nothing. Outstanding coverage. Washington's secondary switched up. Like, Oregon tried to exploit the man coverage, and they just went with different players. Washington's defense did. Let's see if Oregon punts it here. They might want to fake it, but no. Jeremy Bernard will fair catch this one. The Huskies, 1st and 10 at their own 22 with 2 minutes and 24 seconds remaining. Good job by Jeremy Bernard, by the way. Gave him good field position and not muffing. I know that people are thinking, just, do his job. But in a big game like this, where you're a big underdog, you got to do things right. And you have to applaud people in your personal life, in your professional life, and even those you don't know, like the players on the screen, for just doing their job. There's something to doing what's expected of you in a consistent way with work ethic. And that's what I like about Washington, is they are a hardworking team that finds ways to win. It's a good end around there, and that right there was to Bernard, who got about a gain of 5. 2nd and 5. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. By the way, fun fact, Washington 102 yards, Oregon 9. Washington 7 first downs, Oregon zippo. All right, come on. At this point, All right, Oregon sends pressure. Penix is going to loft it deep. Incomplete. 3rd and 5. And thank you, a person, for the nice haircut comment. And Laith Musa, good to see you. And your comment, I'll get to that during the break, but I think it's a very insightful comment that you have. I like that comment, actually. Let me get the scoreboard adjusted for you all. Penix sprint out, gets the ball, and I think that will be they're going to rule it a first down or a 4th and short. Yep, first down, because he caught it. He caught it right at the line. That's that's awesome. And that's a killer, too, for Oregon, because that's more clock they can melt off. And false start for Washington. All right. 1st and 15, a minute 14 left. All I'm going to say right here is Washington's controlling this game. Wow, Odunze, that was like a hit with and they're trying to punch and strip at the ball, Oregon is. I think that's very telling. You're trying to punch and strip at the ball instead of tackling. That's not good. I'm not impressed with how Oregon's been performing. I mean, they're trying to like grapple tackle him instead of just getting him down. 2nd and 9. Looks like there's 2 people in the backfield there with Penix. I don't know if they're both running backs or not. Maybe they are. Washington and Ryan Grubb love to use weird formations, unorthodox techniques, late blitz, and Giles Jackson gets about a gain of 2 or 3, so it'll be 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 6. That'll be the end of the first quarter, and Washington right now with 8 first downs and nearly 120 total yards. Oregon not even with a single first down in this game yet. That's the end of the first quarter, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of the first quarter. Washington with 13 minutes and 13 seconds of possession. That's nuts. That is unholy. It is unholy. Okay. Washington reminds me of last year's Ohio State. That's a good analogy. And I say that because when you look at ourlads.com, I know that's not, the greatest, per se, website. I think it's the best in terms of depth charts outside of released team depth charts. You look at all of the players who are viewed as draft prospects, and outside of one of them, defensively, they're all in the front 7, most along the defensive line for Washington. And that was Ohio State's strength defensively last season, was D-line and linebacker. Their secondary stank. And then offensively, if healthy, I think that comparison, well, no, actually, because Ohio State wasn't healthy at running back last year, and Washington isn't this season. But they have so much receiver talent and NFL-level tackles and an NFL-level quarterback, not like C.J. Stroud, but still NFL level, that they're deadly. And at the right moment and at the right time, they can get the engine going. Really. All right. Oregon's defense literally be like WTF, man. Yeah. I mean, if Washington picks up another first down here, you have to wonder how long it will take before this defense totally breaks. And at that point, no matter how much Oregon scores, it won't matter. Thank you again, a person, for the nice haircut. JT Sports, can't believe they were a 9.5-point underdog. They deserve an apology. I thought 9.5 was too big of a number. That's why I picked Washington to cover, but I thought Oregon was going to win. They were the better team. They've been looking better for quite some time. Meanwhile, Washington's just been pulling away, and it's admirable. It is. No disrespect to them, but Penix has not been the same. And we don't know if Penix is as good as he was in the first half of the season because he's not having to carry his team right now. I mean, Washington has 13 passing attempts, but 12 rushing attempts, and they're averaging 4.3 yards per carry. That's insane. Insane. So, I don't know. But I agree with you, JT Sports. Being up 10-0 over a team that's heavily favored to beat them, and I wouldn't be shocked if they convert this third down. That says something. They're better coached, and I said that despite the fact that I picked Washington, or not Washington, Oregon. I said Washington is the better staff. And THS Last is saying that right now. They're getting out-coached, Oregon is, and I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. Hey, Sam, as an Ohio State fan, congrats on the win. How would you feel about a rematch in the Natty? I would love a rematch in the Natty. That'd be the most watched national title game in history, perhaps by a mile. I guarantee it. Okay. Washington has been disrespected, but it's only the first quarter. Everyone knows what Oregon is capable of. Exactly. You look at Oregon like points per play, yards per point, yards per carry, explosive plays, TOP, line of scrimmage talent. There's not much to hate about Oregon right now, except for in the Washington game earlier this season and now this one, there's very obvious coaching gaffes. But again, it's only been the first quarter. We'll see. Reminder, 2019 OSU was down by double digits to Wisconsin at some point, and they bounced back and took control. 3rd and 6. Penix, with all the time in the world, overthrows his receiver. Would have been wide open right there. That would have been a touchdown if he threw that at. So, let me see this. That's McMillan. McMillan just torches his man, but Penix overthrows him. And that's what I'm talking about. That was wide open. Wide open. That was wide open right there. That would have been a touchdown if he didn't overthrow it. Alrighty. Washington with great punt coverage. And it's going to be fair caught at about the 10. So Oregon will have to start at their own 10. Washington that was a 54-yard punt by Jack McAllister. Washington also had a special teams advantage with the better kicker and punter coming into this game. All right, here we are. 10-0 Washington. And 10-0 Washington, control of the entire first half. This just does not feel good if you're Oregon. You can tell by the look on their players' face and the look on their sidelines. They don't know what's exactly happened. They've gotten punched in the mouth. Bucky Irving is not having success. That was only a gain of 2. It looked like he was going to have a big gain, but I think he second-guessed himself. He wanted to get an explosive play and not just pick up the yards necessary. 2nd and 8 for the Oregon Ducks. They've had 2 punts. Can they get down the field, and can they score? All right. Nix. Oh, wow. Tez Johnson, he's not going to be gone, but that's the first down of the game. That was a miscommunication by Washington's defense there. Wow. Tez Johnson, that was a gain of, I think, 15, around there. Bigger than that, actually. And Tez Johnson with the ball again. That's going to be a gain of 6. Could have been a gain of 2. But again, Washington's defense, they've been suspect all season long. Let's see what Oregon does. If they can march down the field and score a touchdown, this is a game that is really balanced. 2nd and 3 from their own 36. They've gained 26 yards on this drive. 1 first down. Let's see if they can pick up their second. Two running backs are in the backfield. They'll hand it off to Irving. And Irving, easy carry for 5 yards. Irving is really good. Really, really good. First and 10 from the 41. 3 receivers, tight end, and a running back. Bo Nix will take it on a design quarterback run, and he picks up a gain of 5 or 6. So Oregon marching close to midfield. They're going to have to maybe get Nix involved in the run game here, given the strength of this defensive front for Washington. Also, remember last year when USC took over their Pac-12 championship game against Utah, and then Utah came storming back. Nix is pressured, gets it out to his tight end, Terrence Ferguson, for a gain of 8. 1st and 10, first play into Washington territory for the Ducks. All right. And Oregon is not afraid to chew clock. They've chewed a lot of it already. A few minutes to make sure their defense. And there's Troy Franklin juking around, and he's going to get a first down. Gain of 11. I mean, he was just being as shifty as can be. He was jitterbugging. He looks like a phone with vibrate on the table. And you're trying to pick it up, but you can't because it's going everywhere. Nice. Gain of 11. And there's the Oregon Duck. Elite mascot. 1st and 10 at the Washington 35. They're talking about Nix being a Heisman frontrunner. He's nowhere near as good as Jaden Daniels, at least in college. Right there. Tight end. 1st and 10 again at the 24. That right there for Oregon was number 81. Casey Kelly. 3rd string tight end behind Patrick Herbert and Terrence Ferguson. Let's see if Washington can hold them to a field goal. They're going to shift the tight ends, Patrick Herbert and Casey Kelly, to the left side with Irving back there. And they're going to pitch it to Irving. And Irving only gets about a gain of 3. 2nd and 7 at the 21. So that run game right now, Washington is consistently able to run the ball. Oregon's having some problems here. They're going to have to be patient running. Irving is going to check out of this game. All right. So Jordan James checks in, number 20, one of my favorite running backs as well. That play is blown up. That was Tez Johnson, and right there to tackle him was number 17 for the Huskies. That was not Dominique Hampton. Let's see. Number 13, backup free safety, Cameron Fabukulainen, redshirt junior. 3rd and 9 now. Oregon, you're not going to expect them to run it. Maybe they will. They're one of these teams that could run on 3rd and long and realistically pick it up. Washington, though, looks like they're going to send pressure. Maybe they'll back out, and they do. Still sending 5 guys, and that was beautiful coverage there. Again by Cameron Fabukalainen. And defensive offsides. Wow, defensive offsides there. It'll be 3rd and 4. So now Oregon could run it and then go for it if they don't get it. Wow. That was a break for Oregon. There was a beautiful play again by Cameron Fabukalainen. And you can't take that play away from him. That'll be in the highlight reel. 3rd and 4. Another chance to convert. Can Oregon do it? There might be a mismatch up there with Franklin. And deflected. Slant that was deflected. And it looks like Franklin's down. Yeah, Franklin's down on the ground. It was Jabbar Muhammad with the deflection. Hopefully Franklin's okay. He's holding his hand. Ouch. Let me see what happened here. Good pressure. Yeah, that was he got in there with his hands, Jabbar Muhammad did. Well, hopefully Troy Franklin is healthy and okay. We don't like to see injuries here. Oh, I'm hoping that he's okay. All right. 4th and 4. Oregon's in the red zone. Let me check the chat. If Penix is a big game, which the way the ground game is working, he may not, but if he does, he could end up winning the Heisman. I just don't see how you can justify that, given Jaden Daniels' amazing statistics and the fact that he looks like a more polished passer, but also a much better athlete overall. If Washington scores, Oregon has to respond otherwise. Goodness, they need a huge momentum shift. Okay, everyone, Oregon is now awake. Even Michigan had a bad first quarter once, so perhaps Oregon just needed to get a good slap in the face. That's true. The Indiana game, Michigan needed that slap in the face, and then once that happened, they just took over. And Lanning should kick a field goal. And oh dear, that describes my feeling right now. I'm hoping that Franklin's okay. Oregon, this drive's taken up about 6 minutes of clock here. So they're working that clock to give their defense a rest. Let's see what they can do. Liberty's beating New Mexico State 28-21. Am I reading that correctly? Because wasn't it 21-14 at the half? Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, yeah. It was 21-21 at the half, actually. New Mexico State scored in 22 seconds. That's crazy. That is crazy. And I'm not going to be doing an instant reaction to this game just because I might. We'll see, though. For whatever reason, I'm just exhausted. And if you're asking why I'm not taking a nap right now, it's because, I want to watch this game. All right, and we're back. And Franklin's out right now. They're trying to rehab. And Oregon will try for a field goal. Be up to Cam Lewis. Let's see if he'll make it or if he'll shank it. And it's good. So 10-3. Oregon does get on the board. Yeah, at least they get something. And a commercial break. I'm going to wash my face to see if I can wake up. I'll be right back after this break. Wow. And we are back. Oh. Let's sit differently. What LOL? We gotta wake up. Yeah, because when Washington can run on your defense, imagine what Georgia and Michigan could do. It's not good. All right. Washington 10, Oregon 3. Let's see if the Huskies can respond with the field goal, respond with a touchdown. With how they've been driving in this game, they could easily close out the half with a score here. Like, they have just been chewing clock, and they're willing to do so. All right. Well, the over-under in this game was 64.5. I know it's early, but part of me thinks that under's definitely hitting. I mean, these teams are trying to be mistake-free, go slow. They're willing to be a tortoise rather than the hare. And that's a very good story. Slow and steady wins the race. Penix is going to throw deep, and he's got his man, Odunze. Yeah, you better yell. You better yell. You better get hyped up. That's a good play. Odunze just straight up beats his coverage guy right out of the gate. It's Tysheem Johnson. That's an obvious mismatch. If you're going to put anyone on Odunze, you want it to be Kyrie Jackson. You want Kyrie Jackson to cover him as much as you can. It's their best corner. But that leaves other opportunities and other mismatches available. Washington has a much bigger advantage over Oregon's secondary than Oregon's receiver room does over Washington's. Penix with all the time in the world throws it down, gain of about 4, and that's his tight end, Jack Westover. So in Oregon territory now, we're at the 50. Yeah, I mean, that right there, he had all day to throw, all day. All right, let's see, 2nd and 6. Oregon does blitz, but Penix still has time. Deep, wide open is McMillan down at the 4 or the 3. 2 big plays for Washington. Yeah, that's what happens when you blitz and you still don't get home. Wow, that is, again, mismatch. That was McMillan right there on Steve Stevens, the 4th. He straight up beat the deep safety in coverage. That's not good. Right there at the 3. And Washington very well could take a 2-touchdown lead here. Dylan Johnson is in at the Wildcat. They're going to go wide. Touchdown. Jeremy Bernard with a rushing score, an end around from the Wildcat. It's about to be 17-3 in a very quick scoring drive. Boom. Washington has just come out and they've punched Oregon in the mouth again, using motion. And Oregon this time knew that the play was going to the left. And they tried to read Dylan Johnson in case he took it, but it didn't matter. Washington just blocked him up better. Actually counted as a pass, technically. It was a forward pass right there. Wow. Jeremy Bernard. That's great. And there's a flag. Delay of game. That's crazy. 16-3 right now with 6 minutes and 48 seconds left in the half. Oh, the audio's not down. At least I don't think it is. And Grady Gross makes the extra point. Nearly missed it. 17-3. It's crazy. That's just nuts. Wow. Wow. Just wow. Ooh, so what are your thoughts now? What, LOL? I'm not feeling good. No, you shouldn't. You should not feel good. You shouldn't. Also, Nine Finger Jack. You'll watch the lines and count the holds with me. Calls are not going to go your way every time. Do not blame the refs. I've seen some calls that maybe are pretty awful in regards of holding for multiple different teams. Just got to do better. You have to do better. If you're Oregon here, you need a touchdown. And you need a touchdown drive that chews up all of that clock so that when you get the ball to start the second half, you can tie this thing up. Also, sounds like D'Anton Lynn is going to leave for USC's defensive coordinator job. This is being reported as of a little over 30 minutes ago. That's a great hire. Great hire there by Lincoln Riley. But whether it's Uncle Lou or whether it's others, there are people who are saying that what do you call it? That Lincoln Riley's the problem with his defenses, and no matter which DC you hire, it'll be the same result. We'll see if that's the case. If Washington wins this game, let me tell you something. Depending on other chaos that happens, they could be a top 2 seed. And that would be historic. Washington, I don't think, has ever had 13 wins in a season. I'm going to look up the Don James head coaching record. Because maybe he had he had a 12-0 season. Washington's never won 13 games in a season before. If they win this game tonight, have their most wins in a single season in history. In the history of the school. Ohio State fans' hopes are increasing by the minute. Oh, that is true. But then what you'll need Georgia and Michigan to win. You need a lot to happen for you to get in, but it could happen. It could happen. What LOL if Oregon doesn't score here? I'm going to take a break. I'm sorry, man. I feel bad for you. Hopefully, hopefully you feel better. Washington going to kick off. This right now is reminding me of, not exactly, but it's a similar mood to TCU Michigan, where the big underdog is doing so well, and you're kind of thinking, what the crap is what's going on? All right. Oregon 1st and 10. First and 10 at the 25. Let's see what happens here. Play action. Bucky Irving, low snap. He's going to be tackled in the backfield for a loss. 2nd and 11. This defense for Washington is winning at the line of scrimmage. Washington's winning the battle in the trenches right now. They're winning the battle everywhere. That's why they're up, and that's why they're controlling the clock, doing their part. That's why they're able to get consistent plays and also explosive plays. Let's see if Washington can get them off the field in a 3-and-out, which would not be good. Bucky Irving remains in there with Bo Nix, and they're going to hand it off to Irving. Irving's going to get a gain of 2. It'll be 3rd and 9, maybe 3rd and 8. Irving just not, it's not because of him. I mean, there was a play where he tried to get the big play, and he probably should have taken the extra yards. But right there, Washington's just winning on the interior. Alumu Ale and Tuli Letugisan Senoa. I totally butchered that name, I'm sorry. But good players right there. Great players. And then ZTF, Zylan Tupula Fatui, and Braylon Trice. Washington is one of the better D-lines in the country when they're functioning at their potential. All right, Bo Nix, that's Terrence Ferguson, and they're not going to get there. That's a 3-and-out. Terrence Ferguson with a 5-yard reception, and that's going to be a punt for Oregon most likely. They are neutering this defense. They're neutering this defense. And I don't know what's going on here. But it looks like Washington's doing well in coverage, and it looks like, to me, what the Huskies are doing is they care about the short, and they're forcing Oregon to make medium throws. They're stopping the run game. They're not allowing big passing plays. All right. 1st and 10 for the Huskies at their own 16. I'm telling you here, this is not good. This Oregon team we haven't seen since. They've had some slow starts this season, like against Stanford and Texas Tech. Wow. See, I don't see the Michigan hype. People need to see that Michigan is a good Big Ten team, not an elite championship team. They won't win a playoff game this year, especially if Washington plays them. See, it's so difficult because in one hand, I could see your point. Another hand, though, I look at Michigan and they're more consistent than both of these teams watching them. They also have a much better defense than either Oregon or Washington do. Much better defense. Michigan, I think, is the toughest team in the country. Are they the most physical team? Because I think toughness and physicality are different. You can have a guy who has a smaller build and isn't as strong, but who's tougher than the big physical monster. I think the most physical team in the country, that's a hard one. I don't know exactly. It could be Georgia. I would say it could have been Oregon before this game. Maybe it could be Washington because they have great play in the trenches. Their weakness is just the secondary and occasionally some inconsistency at the quarterback position with Penix. All right. People saying they thought Oregon was the better team. If Michigan plays Washington, it'll be tough, but Michigan is darn good. Their defense is fantastic, and their offensive defensive lines are both good. Good luck stopping the Michigan run. I think Washington would actually have more of a problem stopping Michigan's tight ends and passing game than their rushing attack. I think Washington matches up well with Michigan offensively and defensively, but I'd pick Michigan to win that game still. They were supposed to be more physical than TCU. That's a good point. But Michigan, I mean, you knew from when they tried that stupid 4th down call in the red zone that they totally overlooked TCU. Michigan played far from their best game. TCU played their best game of the season. Like 8 or 9 times out of 10, Michigan wins that game. And that was apparent watching that game. And this Michigan team's more physical than Ohio State, DeMoney. And I think most Ohio State fans, understandably so, said their team could do damage. Maybe not win it all, but they could at least win a playoff game or compete for it all. This Michigan team You know how last year Ohio State, with their wide receivers, speed, and athleticism, there was an argument that they were better built for the playoffs? Michigan, I'd say, is better built for the playoffs than OSU this year because they have a better quarterback, better O-line, better tight ends. I mean, their tight ends almost compensate for Ohio State's advantage at receiver, and they have a really physical defense. And Trey Spencer, yes, Harbaugh will coach in the playoff games. Oh, this is a good halftime show. I forget the name of these two guys. I like hearing them talk at the halftime show. Yeah, Harbaugh will be on the sidelines in the Big Ten Championship game and in the playoffs. Let's see what Washington does here. 1st and 10 at the 16. Michael Penix Jr. in the backfield with Dylan Johnson takes the ball, play action. Will he throw? Yes, he'll throw deep. And Odunze has it. Wow. And he beat 2 Oregon defenders. He was double-teamed, and he beat Jeffrey Bassa and Deontay Manning. He was on a linebacker and a corner. Again, not on Kyrie Jackson. They're using mismatches, and Tosh Lupoy, I don't think, is changing up his assignments. Right there, 1st and 10 at the 50. Odunze is 84 receiving yards already. You can also tell that I think Troy Franklin being out hurts. Dylan Johnson gets about a gain of 3 or 4, so Washington again is in Oregon territory. They have 230 total yards and 11 first downs. Oregon only has 82 total yards and 5 first downs. It's nuts. It's crazy. All right. Oh, wow. Trick play. And Polk. That was a 1st and 10. That could have been a touchdown, but Oregon actually read that play. They didn't read that play well, but they defended it well given their personnel. That was a triple or quadruple reverse. Number 0 for Oregon. Defensively, Tysheem Johnson was able to blow up the man guarding him pretty well. That was Troy Fatanu, but it wasn't enough. So now 1st and 10 from the Oregon 39. 4 receivers out there, including, I think, Jack Westover, the tight end. Penix is looking to pass, and it's Jalen McMillan who breaks a tackle, and he's down at the Oregon 21, 1st and 10. Washington is just blowing open this team, and they're taking that clock all the way down. Only 2 minutes and about 20 seconds left in this game. You look at the Washington sidelines, they're I don't know. This team is just, they're well poised. That's the best way to put it. And Odunze now close to over 100 receiving yards. Washington play fake, and Nixon was wide open, probably would have gotten 10 yards. Had space, but there was a blitz. Yeah, Kyrie Jackson on the blitz there, and that was the same with Tysheem Johnson. They brought a corner blitz, and Penix nearly got it out to Will Nixon. If you're Washington, do you run it here? Do you run to try and burn off some clock? Because if 17-point lead, they toss it, and Will Nixon gets about a gain of 4 or 5, so some yardage. They're in the red zone now, and that clock. Oh, Oregon. Yeah, I think Oregon took a timeout. Let me see. Yup, Oregon took a timeout. Dan Lanning, he doesn't look mad. He looks shocked. Looks honestly shocked. Taking that first timeout. Yeah, wow. Michigan needs to prove they can win before I genuinely consider them a threat. That's understandable. I respect that opinion. I mean, the TCU game last year, Georgia just pounding them like it was nothing. That's understandable. I mean, I picked Michigan to win both of their semifinal games of the past 2 seasons. Didn't happen. The first one was delusional. The second one was very understandable. All right. Oregon looks like they want to send 6 men forward on a blitz. Penix is in there by himself. They're going to send 4. And Polk is wrestled in the backfield. They'll lose yardage, and Oregon will take their second time out. Wow. 20-3 here. That's killer. That is a 17-point lead entering half is killer. Because that's 3 scores. Well, yeah, they gave Grady Gross a scholarship, and there was Penix right there with them after celebrating it. It's awesome. All right, Grady Gross. Can he make it? It's a 37-yard attempt. Oregon's lining up to try and block it from the left side. And Grady Gross is going to be great. 20-3 Washington with 1:39 left. Wow. 18 minutes and 21 seconds of possession for Washington. Dominating TOP. They have more than double the first downs. They actually have triple the yardage that Oregon does, the Huskies do. Wow, it's just crazy. Penix is 16 of 22 for 192 yards, and Nix is 9 of 14 for 64. Let's go, Dogs. Right now, Kalen DeBoer is coaching circles around Dan Lanning. Circles. Maybe Washington is a team that really can win it all. Because I think if you're beating Oregon this way, I think you can beat anyone. I think Oregon's that good. Wow. That's tough to believe. So Nix is 1:39 to get down and kick a field goal or get a touchdown. You preferably want a touchdown with how your offense has been functioning. You haven't scored a touchdown yet in this game. It's crazy. Wow. It's nuts. Nix is going to try and throw, and Tez Johnson's wide open. Tez Johnson is out at the 37 of Washington. That's a 39-yard pass. There might be a flag down. Nice. That was a good play. No flag, though. 1st and 10 at the 36. Tez Johnson is now going to be over 1,000 receiving yards on the season. Can Oregon strike quickly? Bo Nix is going to fling it up. Incomplete. 1:21 left. 2nd and 10. I mean, you saw in that play, you're seeing Oregon's talent, but they're just being challenged in a way that I don't know if they expected to be challenged. Second and 10. Play clock at 2, 1. Play action pass. Franklin has a catch, his second of the night for 12. First down. They're going to have to go quickly. Franklin looks healthier, and that's good. Don't like to see players get hurt. Yeah, Oregon can easily score a touchdown. They're going to wear down some of that clock a little more. Bucky Irving couldn't haul that one in. Second and 10, 57 seconds remaining. Irving is second in the country in receptions by a running back. Just phenomenal player. Could have been a dangerous pass, but it's not. There's another chance for Oregon to get into the red zone or to kick a field goal. Something. You have to get something out of this drive. Down by 3 scores entering half is just not good. Not good. Nix. And there's going to be a hold. That was an obvious hold. Jabbar Muhammad was he was like grabbing onto his arms. That's going to be Pete. That's an interesting PI call. That could be. I think it was PI, but yeah, I mean that was an interesting call. Whatever Oregon fan was in my comments saying like the bad calls going against the Ducks, that canceled out any potential bad calls right there. That was a pro-Oregon call, I would say. But nothing's perfect. You got to overcome adversity in those situations. They're going to motion out Ferguson, and they're going to run Nix. And Nix, second and goal at about the 2. I wouldn't be shocked if Oregon's able to punch it in here. They're going to use clock, and they should. Irving, nope. Nothing. Yeah. Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving, nothing. Up the middle. Oh, wow. Ferguson caught it for a touchdown. That was an amazing catch. Wow. So, Oregon gets points before the half. That's what you needed. Give them some juice. Only 9 seconds left. Only 9 seconds left. That's good. All right, 20-10. 20-10 will probably be the score at the half. Unless Washington can get something nuts. That's an awesome catch by Ferguson. Yeah, that was an awesome one-handed catch by Ferguson. He hauled it in with one hand. Wow. Yeah, Oregon can draw this within 3 at the start of the second half, make this a game again. It's been a dominating performance by Washington. They've definitely won the second half. Will they squib it? No, they're going to straight up kick it off out of the back of the end zone. All right. When halftime hits, I'll play an ad break, and then we'll do some trivia, talk about some of the games tomorrow. Yep, and Washington will just take a knee. Okay. I'll be back. 20-10, Washington. Let's see if Oregon can rally. I'll be back. Alrighty. So what are your thoughts about the first half? Neither team can win a game in the championship series. You think if either team reaches the playoffs, they're smoked? Is that what you're saying, Ducks? Asmers? Holy cow, well, Washington has a 70% chance to win this game according to FPI. and they just took over. I wonder how Oregon will come out of the half. We better make some serious halftime adjustments if they want to win. So here's some stats. Bo Nix, 117 passing yards and a touchdown. Washington in total, 196 passing yards and a touchdown. Oregon, 25 rushing yards. Washington, 59 rushing yards. It's crazy. The Huskies are 4 of 7 on third down. Oregon is 1 of 5. The Huskies have 13 first downs. Oregon is 8. And in regards of penalties, Washington is 4. Oregon only has 1. So, I mean, that's just nuts. Washington looks like the better team right now, and there's not much more to say outside of that. Washington is scary, Sam. If they play this way in the playoffs, they will be. My question with Washington, ever since the Oregon game, is can they play to their ceiling all the time? Because if they can, then they can win it all. But this team's been inconsistent ever since their original matchup with Oregon. They've been inconsistent. And inconsistency will not work against Georgia. It will not work against Alabama. Well, maybe Alabama. This Alabama team isn't a typical Nick Saban team, though. It won't work against Georgia. It won't work against Michigan. It will not work against Ohio State. It won't. It just won't, because Washington's inconsistency is not as good as Michigan's or as Ohio State's or as Georgia's. Texas might have, on average, a better performance, a more consistent performance. I would say before this game started, I would have said Oregon is a much more consistent team. So, I don't know. But 13-0 Washington, Pac-12 champion, that's big. That's big time right there, is what that is. That's a great team. And we'll just have to see. Tomorrow I'm going to be glued to the screen. I'm probably not going to go live tomorrow. I'll probably just do a bunch of instant reactions is what I'll do. I know this is off topic. No. Legend BAON. This is very important. Northwestern was that was an elite coaching job. I thought they'd go 1-11 or 2-10. They exceeded my preseason win total by 6 or 7, and they could do it by even more than that by winning their bowl game. It's nuts. That's crazy. I'm going to look at their depth chart here. Legend, you bring up a very good point, because I wonder, Bryce Kurtz and then Cam Porter, and they just have some players that if they have another year of eligibility, AJ Henning too, great player. They have some guys where if they can come back, they could build something. But it looks like they have a lot of seniors on their team. So I don't know if they have COVID eligibility. If they do, then that's good. It looks like they're going to lose a lot after this season, though, from what I understand. Cam Johnson, Bryce Kurtz, AJ Henning, Josh Preby, Ben Rather, Dom D'Antonio, Charlie Mangiarini, Marshall Lang, Duke Olges, Thomas Gordon, Ryan Holinsky. Those are all offensive players, either starters or backups who are probably gone, unless they have COVID years. They're listed as seniors or redshirt seniors. On defense, Jalen Pate, Bryce Gallagher, Coco Ezame, Rod Hurd, Looks like they'll return a pretty fair amount defensively, and offensively, that's where most of their production will be lost. That's what it appears. But who knows? I'm just, look, David Braun, Coach of the Year in the Big Ten. And nationally, I mean, if Jeff Brom wins the ACC, I'd say give it to him. But if he loses, I'd say there's a pretty good argument for having someone who led Northwestern to a bowl game, a decent bowl game, not a 5-7 or 6-6 bowl game appearance. You should rank them up there. Thought it was pretty good job. Maybe they could improve next year and be even better. I thought the Ducks defense would perform better, but they have both proven they don't have the defense to compete against Georgia or Alabama. I think Oregon would handily beat Alabama. I do. Georgia, on the other hand, based off how they look, no. Georgia's offense would do exactly what Washington's is doing right now. I, controversially, don't think Georgia has the same defensive front that Washington does, but Georgia has the far superior secondary, and when healthy, they, I'd say, have the better or same linebacker core. They'd be beating them handily right now. Oh. We'll see, but 20-10, it's going to be hard to overcome. Looks like Brock Glenn might get the start for Florida State tomorrow. That would be crazy. Third string quarterback potentially getting the start. Be nuts. Liberty's beating New Mexico State 42-35 early in the fourth quarter. If Liberty goes 13-0 and SMU wins, there's a chance for Liberty to go to a New Year's Six Bowl, which would be impressive for their program. But Tulane at 11-1, I think if they beat SMU, they'll get the nod over Liberty for that New Year's Six Bowl. But that could just be my own personal opinion and nothing more. Alrighty. Ward Manuel sitting right there with the College Football Playoff Committee. We're doing some halftime games right now. So I'm going to take an ad break and then we'll do some trivia. But before that, I'm going to check the chat and see if there's any other topics to mention. All right. There is some stuff that looks like people want to talk about, so we'll do that, but after we get back. All right. Legend. I am excited for the Big Ten Championship. I'm rooting for Iowa because that's my sister's school, and I might go there, but I hope it's a good game. I mean, I'm a Michigan fan, so I hope Michigan wins 70-0 without anyone getting injured, but doubt that'll happen. I think Michigan will win. I think Michigan will blow Iowa out, but it will take 2, 3, 4 quarters. It won't be like instantaneously Iowa just gives up. Dreamin' Digital, Coach Braun deserves the Big Ten Coach of the Year. Nick Ma, 71, told you so, ... Wait a second. Let me see this. I need to get better at answering comments. It's hard when I'm producing the content that I have been, but let's see. Let's see what you said, Nick Ma. Maybe I replied to your comment, but maybe I didn't. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also click on the notification bell. I appreciate it. Let's see. Very curious to see what your comment was.
Did you know
as we
MasterCard
predicted
and
Washington to
fintechs
win,
like
perhaps
Lendio are
handily.
helping this entrepreneur dream bigger? Look closer. MasterCard is securely connecting more of their financial picture beyond credit scores so lenders can approve loans for those who deserve them. Meaning this small business can keep opening new doors. MasterCard, helping partners do incredible things every day. Together, the possibilities are priceless.
I'm still looking for that comment, Nick.
Big
Very
meeting
much
tomorrow.
looking
Ooh, you sure you
for
want to go with the
that
pie chart?
comment.
These clients seem more like bar graph
Don't
people.
see it right
That's the font
now.
you're using? Okay. Oh, wait, come on.
Natural vitality. Calm your mind.
Washington when Jones was at Purdue. But what was your score prediction? Rondale Moore, Nick, prime example, and several other receivers for the Purdue. My prediction for tomorrow is that Michigan scores twice. So Washington's staff is great. Oregon's staff, I think, is great as well. Ooh. Tosh Lupoy, that would be defensive cool. Coordinator. Will Stein, he's Ducks Asmers, U of M kicks field goal first quarter, and that game is over. You can see why go that this far, offense has. But Iowa's offense has a pretty fair margin time. The defense, an absolutely tough time going just about anywhere. Seems like my desktop audio was on playing over my video. Hopefully, none of you heard me talking from the video. Jeremiah and Muhammad. Well, I know someone named Jeremiah. Actually, I think I have known a few people in my life named Jeremiah, and I have a personal close friend named Muhammad. Hopefully there's a way both of them can win, but realistically both of them can't win. This is the halftime game where if they throw enough, whoever throws the most balls into the massive Dr. Pepper thing, you get money. Muhammad right now is ahead like by a score of 3-2. Wow. He's much more organized than Jeremiah at throwing. Oh well, I can't find your comment, Nick, but maybe you have it and I'm just not seeing it in the right place. All right. Hard thing is I have been a Northwestern fan since I'm a kid, and it's weird thinking about going to another school. I'll always have a soft spot for Northwestern. By any chance, are you going for school, Legend, or are you going to go to, like, play football? Just asking. I have, like, this weird feeling that you'll be, like, going to play sports. Oh, and Muhammad Adam gets 100,000 in tuition for winning. Sweet. Marcus Sutton. You kicked a field goal in the first matchup and won. If the other team doesn't do the same, they lose. By the way, Washington won that game by 3, so don't say that age is over. Tony White staying at Nebraska is huge for the program. I like Rule's commitment to developing players. It may take a few years, but Rule wants his program to be player development first. And you have to be player development first, but you also have to dive into the portal. You can't be allergic to the transfer portal. If you are, your program will die because you will not have good enough depth. You just won't. I am going to school. I am not playing sports, unfortunately. Well, good for you for going and, getting your degree. That's good. I'm currently taking a semester off just to focus on this channel. But starting probably Sunday, or I'll be registering later than other people for classes, just because I took this semester off, but I'll register and take a few classes next semester at Michigan. I go to school at Michigan, by the way, for those of you who don't know. So I'm a Michigan Wolverine who goes to school, like, at Michigan. The Lost Angels, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that very, very much. If Bama, Washington, Michigan, Florida, and Texas wins, does Georgia still make the playoffs? No. Michigan, Washington, 13-0, they'd be the top 2 seeds. Georgia would have a chance at maybe the 3 or 4. FSU, 13-0, I don't see how they get left out. Well, no. That would be impossible. Texas would have to make it, and Alabama would have to make it. If 4 of those 5 teams would make it, no one else would get in. So, look, I think if Georgia loses, they're out, barring some serious chaos. I think if Georgia loses, they're done. That's the beauty about the Pac-12 and SEC championship game. Loser goes home, season's over. Winner, they get a chance to go to the CFP. So thank you again, Lost Angels, for the $5 super chat. I very much appreciate that. Legend, you played high school football and got some D3 offers, but college football is a big commitment. It is. I have a friend of mine who's going to school right now. He got some D3, I think maybe D2 offers, and he played football in high school, but it is a big commitment, and he dealt with some injuries. So he's not playing anymore. You got into Michigan State and Iowa so far. I originally was going to go into Michigan State, but I had to live on campus there my first year. Michigan, as long as I live, I think within 50 or a set amount of miles within the campus, I can just drive there. So it was cheap. It was actually more affordable for me to go to Michigan instead of Michigan State. You can dive into the portal, but you need to be smart. Rule needs to continue to build the depth of the program. He does. I think you're going to need a transfer quarterback, though. I mean, you roll out there. I mean, maybe Purdy is good enough, but you roll out there with Sims or Harburg next season. Well, I don't know what to tell you with what will be a tougher schedule or the same toughness of schedule as this season. Can't wait for halftime to be over. It'll be glorious. I love Iowa's campus and Iowa City, and my sister goes there, so that's where I'm going to end up. Well, good for you. I hope that you go there, or you go wherever God ends up guiding you to, and you get a good education. And honestly, good luck. You said you've grown up a Northwestern fan. What impresses you the most about their team this season? Like, who's your favorite player, and what do you think has contributed to their success? Sam, what do you study at Michigan? I graduated from Michigan recently. I'm studying econ right now, just because it's a diverse degree that has a lot of great career potential, but it's pretty broad. I might finish out my econ degree as a major, or maybe I'll switch majors, but I'll definitely get it as a minor. And that's just for now. Thank you for asking. What did you graduate with at Michigan? Nice to see a fellow Wolverine. And we're back. We're back. Imagine Texas losing to Oklahoma State tomorrow. The whole fan base would melt. But Ohio State being ranked ahead, I mean, with Alabama, with how low Alabama is ranked, I think in order for the SEC to get into the playoff, Georgia has to win, or if they lose, you have to see Louisville win. Or Texas lose. The SEC's probably getting in. I mean, I'm expecting Georgia to not blow out Alabama, but I think they'll control that team. So Washington's kicking off. They're going to let it bounce out of the end zone. Oregon is. Downtown. I majored in sociology. That's something I'm tempted to study along with econ. I've always been interested in like history and sociology. I watch a lot of like different stuff relating to that. And you said A.J. Henning by far is my favorite player. Not big numbers, but yeah, he's a character guy, really smart. And then you also said Ben Bryant's a close second. Those are good picks. So Oregon is out. They're going to hand it off to Jordan James, and James has a burst. Wow. That right there is a 16-yard run. So Oregon starting the second half on fire. Remember, if you're an Ohio State fan, you're cheering for Washington to win because a 12-1 Washington might get in over you. Bo Nix going deep, incomplete, overthrew his man, Troy Franklin. 2nd and 10. And Liberty is now up 49-35. So they're going to win, probably. All right. Second and 10. Can Oregon dig further into this lead, or will Washington force them into a punt or maybe a 4th down stop? Play action. Be about a gain of 5, maybe gain of 4 or 6 right there. That was for Troy Franklin. Bo Nix is now 13 of 21 for 122 yards and a touchdown. 3rd and 5 at their own 47. If Washington can get off the field here, that's big. That is big if they can get off the field. Oregon looks calm, but they don't look emotional either. And I think that's a good thing, but I don't know if it is or not. All right. Wow. Tez Johnson just, his hands weren't in the right position at the right time. His body was in place, but his mind wasn't. That should have been a catch. Yeah, he should have thrown it to number 5, is where Bo Nix should have put it. Are they going for it? They're going to go for it. He should have thrown it to Trayshawn Holden, and now he got a big risky call here. 4th and 5. And you can't take a timeout here because you're down. All right. Terrence Ferguson caught. Franklin caught it. So 1st and 10. So 4th downs, being aggressive paid off there. This is an intense game. If Oregon scores even just a field goal here, you're only down by 1 score. 2nd and 10. Braylon Trice deflected a pass. Not 1st and 10, but 2nd and 10 at the Washington 47. I think Washington believes they're going to run, and Jordan James gains only about a yard. It'll be 3rd and 9. Will Oregon go for it on 4th down here? Will they? I mean, I think you have to if you're going to go for it in your own territory, and it's 4th and 9 or 4th and even 4th and long. I think you got to go for it with their attitude. I think they want to get points out of this. All right. Irving or James is back there. James, wheel route, and James has it. Wow. He beat his guy. And now Oregon's in the red zone here. Yeah, he had his linebacker beat. That was a good play. 1st and 10 at the Washington 16. They're going to run the ball with Jordan James. And James is inside the 10, a gain of 8. So now Oregon getting momentum back. Jordan James is playing better right now, I'll tell you that. 12 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 2nd and 10. Bucky Irving checks back in. Bo Nix. 3rd and 2. Little RPO action there. And yeah, he had to throw it quickly because otherwise his lineman would have been too far down the field. He had to throw it quickly. 3rd and 2. I imagine Oregon goes for it if they don't get this. They shift their tight ends. A little bit of a trick play here. Wow. Good trick play. First and goal from the 5 for the Oregon Ducks. That was a trick play right there where they had, I think, both of their tackles out wide, almost lining up as receivers. They threw a screen. This has been a very complex drive. 11 plays, 70 yards, taking up 4 minutes of clock. Let's see if Oregon wants to run this ball or not. No, they want to pass. Lofted up to Terrence Ferguson. Incomplete. 2nd and goal. Nix now 16 of 28 for 161 yards and a touchdown. Jordan James leads the team in rushing yards with 26. Second and goal from the 5. You really want to get a touchdown here if you're Oregon, but they have converted on every necessary down. Looks like they'll run. They will, and Irving finds a way to gain 2 yards, but it'll be 3rd and goal from the 4, the 3. Tough running by Bucky Irving. I think Nix will have to make a pass again, or he'll have to do something on his own to get into the end zone. See what Washington does here. Fake end around. Nix gets about a gain of 1. It'll be 4th and goal from the 2. Essentially, you got to run your best 2-point conversion play here if you go for it. Or maybe you kick the field goal. But Nix had to run. 4th down. 4th and 2. What will you do? You've converted your first 4th down, so this is a different... The aggression's worked so far. What will you do? Snap. Good. Pressured. Caught! Terrence Ferguson catches it. Whoa. He got pressured, too. They stunted. Washington stunted. That was the perfect call. And Nix just has enough talent along with his tight end to make things work. Wow. So the aggression's paid off for Lanning, but let's see if it's enough because you're still down. 9 minutes, 39 seconds remaining in this game. Washington with only a 52.5% chance to win. So Washington 20, Oregon 17. If you're Washington, you probably want to score a touchdown here. All right. Whew, wow. Well, Oregon is 2 of 2 on fourth down. They're 3 of 9 on third. Washington has not attempted a fourth down this game yet. And Oregon now is averaging more yards per carry than Washington. Washington is still averaging more yards per pass attempt. Let's see what happens. Because Washington has not gotten the ball, or has not had the ball since 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And Oregon's had 2 scoring drives of touchdowns on them. At one point it was 20-3. It's now 20-14. Let's see if Washington can make it 27 or 23-17, or if Oregon will get all the momentum back. Bless me. Aggression's good, but I will say against Washington, Oregon has had 5 fourth down conversion attempts. They've converted 2 of them. All 5 have been pass attempts. And I don't know how well or consistent that's going to bode, because I imagine Oregon will go for it for more fourth down attempts tonight. I don't know if you can only pass and be one-dimensional on fourth down. But we'll see. They have all the momentum. We'll just have to see how Washington responds. Oregon on that drive got 5 minutes and 21 seconds of possession. So their defense is well rested. Their defense got like 30 minutes of rest, including halftime and the times that Oregon was on the field offensively. Got about 30 minutes or more of rest. So let's see how this well-rested defense does against Washington. Now can Oregon stop Washington's offense? Yes. Let's see if they can or not. Let's see. Oregon will kick it off. It's 20-17. Huskies. Oregon sidelines with all the energy in the world. Let's see what Washington can do. We're going to let it bounce out of the back of the end zone. Michael Penix Jr., Rome Odunze, and Dylan Johnson will come out. Let's see. Mind you all, Kalen DeBoer is 2-0 against Dan Lanning. 1st and 10. Penix shifts basically the entire formation to the left side with Dylan Johnson. Oregon looks like they want to bring pressure. Dylan Johnson gets about a gain of 1 or 2. Let's see what happens here. Probably an obvious passing situation for Washington. But no, they're going to run. And Dylan Johnson, wide open hole. Going to be 1st and 10 from their own 44. That was a 17-yard run. Dylan Johnson, 12 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Again, they are opening. Washington's opening up the Red Sea. They have 77 rushing yards. And if they ran the football more, I know it wouldn't be a part of their identity, but they could probably have well over 100 rushing yards if they just ran it more. But Washington's a team that likes to be pass heavy, but Oregon's been pass heavy this game. They've struggled to run. Penix throws it out to McMillan, and McMillan gets about 5 or 4 yards. 2nd and 5. Over 200 passing yards now for the Huskies. All right, 2nd and 6. Clock winding down. This is the moment where champions do things differently. Penix throws incomplete. Looking for McMillan, but he overthrew his man. Important 3rd and 6. Washington did pick up a first down. And if they punt here, they'll get good field position, but you want to score here with Oregon having all the momentum in the world. 3rd and 6. Washington is 4 of 7 on 3rd down. They're at their own 48, 47. Really the 47 and a half. Odunze motioning out to the right of Penix. And that's going to be a false start on Washington. It'll be 3rd and 11. Wow. Troy Fatanu. Third and 10. Can Washington convert a 3rd and 10? Oregon's going to send pressure. That's what they're going to do every 3rd and 10. Penix unleashes, and it's picked. Penix throws a pick. And it will be 1st and 10 for Oregon at their own 40. Wow. Yeah, he overthrew Odunze. Penix is a problem with overthrowing his receivers when pressured. Or at times, just in general. But 1st and 10, nice pick by Kyrie Jackson. And now Oregon has great field position. Jordan James gets a gain of 2. Interior run. It's been hard. This is a good game. It is. Nix pressured, escapes. And he throws a pick. That might be an incomplete pass, though. That might be ruled an incompletion based off how we dropped it. I think they were going to review it during the commercial break, but that was a bad throw by Nix. Two quarterbacks trading interceptions potentially. That's not good. ESPN hasn't updated it yet. Oh, nope, now they have. Cordy, this game is drunk. Nice Texas logo, by the way. Gosh, I don't know if I want Texas to win tomorrow. I'm conflicted by, do I want the SEC out of the playoffs or do I want Ohio State in? Because both aren't happening. If Ohio State's in the playoffs, Georgia is definitely going to be in, barring some act of God, frankly. And if the SEC is out, I doubt Ohio State's in. Harold Riggins, this is exactly what I needed from both teams. Horrible offensive play, mid to good defense. He must have taken the under, says Trey Spencer. Yeah, I think Michigan wouldn't, blank name, Michigan wouldn't bury these teams in the run, but they'd wear them down. Michigan would average 4.5, 5 yards per carry on Oregon's defense. I think Michigan would run convincingly on Oregon's defense. On Washington's, they'd run for 3.5 to 4, maybe 3. But I think they'd do it enough and mix in McCarthy. McCarthy's really good at throwing third down conversion passes to tight ends and wide receivers. I think Michigan's offenses would move both of these defenses. But we'll have to see what happens because Nix, I mean, what are you doing forcing that pass? Like, you have the momentum. Your coach, I don't know. It's like kind of like, what are you doing there? Like, you're Kyrie Jackson's pick was almost all for nothing. Really. And now Washington has a chance to learn from their mistakes. But we'll have to see. We're almost at 30 likes and we'll probably get like 1,000 views on this live stream. Rather OSU or Texas because I'm tired of the SEC. Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, my gosh. Yeah. So they ruled it as a pick, which makes sense because he had control and was down, and then the ball popped out. Penix play action, pass to McMillan. It's a gain of 4. Basically a run right there. Bo Nix has only thrown 2 picks before this game. This is his 3rd of the season. Let's see what the Huskies can do. You know Washington's going to chew as much clock as they realistically can while also scoring. And there is another gaping hole for Dylan Johnson. 3rd and 1 out at the 50. Wow. Dylan Johnson, 13 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Washington's ran for 81 yards, averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Washington's been the more run-heavy team, and that's very interesting. Oregon's been more pass-heavy this season than run-heavy. I wouldn't be shocked if Washington runs it here. Wow. I don't think they called Oregon offsides there, but that was a PI. Oh, that's a killer PI call. Now Washington's getting very close to field goal range. Yeah, Manning is just pulling Odunze. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? You can't guard Odunze. You can't. That's why him and Marvin Harrison Jr. are unique. You can't guard them. But now 1st and 10 from the Oregon 36. Penix is there. Jack Westover motions over to his left. And it will be a run for Dylan Johnson. And Johnson powers forward for 5. So just picking up more 5-yard carries. I'd say keep running it if you're Washington. Just keep running, wearing down this D-line and making them think twice about trying to guard the pass. It's very effective. They're at the 32. This is outside of Grady Gross's range, I would say. You want to pick up another first down before considering going for a field goal. They will run it again, and Johnson will gain 3 yards. It'll be 3rd and 2. Inside the Oregon 30 now. Look at the patience of Johnson waiting for his blockers, trying to find the right hole. He sees that there's no big play. There's no obvious hole. Oregon read that play well, but he picked up 3 yards. And now you're in a spot where you can maybe run it twice despite being this pass-heavy team. Like, part of me thinks run the ball and try and break this defense. They're lined up tight and heavy. Wow. Oh my gosh, he fell down. Dylan Johnson stumbled. He would have had the first down, but now it's 4th and 3. Wow. Now this could be the story. Yup, Dylan Johnson was tried to juke, and he shouldn't have done that. But now it's 4th and 2, and Washington's going to go for it. Big mistake there by Johnson. Will they convert? Will they convert? That's the question. And sacked. Wow. So that drive was wasted. Defense. Defense, defense, defense. And if Dylan Johnson doesn't try and do too much, they get the first down. Well guarded by Oregon. They played good zone. Wow. Holy cow, this is a game. Let me tell you. All right. I'm going to take a commercial break, get some water. We'll be right back. Oregon's now given a 51.9% chance to win. They once again have good field position thanks to that sack by Nico Reed. Let's see. Tight game. Tight game. Washington has been pretty dead on off. Not dead They've just been inefficient. Dead would be 3 and outs. They've been able to move the ball. They just can't convert when it matters right now. Let's see what Bo Nix and Jordan James and Bucky Irving can do. Liberty beat New Mexico State. New Mexico State falls to 10-3 or to 10-4. Liberty goes on to 13-0, winning Conference USA under head coach Jamie Chadwell. The Flames had 712 yards. They had 319 passing yards and 393 rushing yards. They averaged 8.7 yards per carry and 12.8 yards per pass attempt. That's nuts. Diego Pavia played well along with Caden Salter. It was great. Good game. All right, here we are. This is the final Pac-12 Championship game, by the way. There's only 18 minutes and 21 seconds left in this game. They try a screen pass that works, getting it out to Tez Johnson for a gain of 6. It'll be 2nd and 4 at their own 45. I imagine Oregon, you got to score on this drive if you're Oregon. I imagine they will. That's kind of a way too early look. Fake run to Jordan James. They stunt. And Nix is going to run. He has all day. And Nix scrambles all the way down to the 10. That's a scramble of 50 yards, I think. Yeah. Or a 40 or, yeah, 45-yard scramble. That's crazy. Braylon Trice tried to jump to defend the pass instead of tackle him, so just a few mistakes by Washington, simple mistakes. So 1st and 10 from in the Washington 11. This Washington defense got to bow up. Yeah, they're going to review this. He was down before the ball popped out. Otherwise, that would have been a touchdown. That was a great play. So So 1st and 5 from the Washington 6. There was an offsides after that big run by Bo Nix. Oregon poised to punch it in. Washington will need to respond. All the tight ends are shifted. And Jordan James, touchdown, Oregon. Oregon has scored an unanswered 21 points. Wow. If you're Washington, you gotta respond. That's crazy. That's nuts. Bo Nix made a great play there. And Jordan James finding the wide open hole. That was a beautiful play designed by Will Stein. And yeah, that was total misdirection with Jordan James. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's awesome. So Oregon now 24-20. They've scored an unanswered 21 points. Washington still leads in possession. They lead in total yards. But Oregon just the better team in red zone efficiency and touchdown. This place is loud, and it's affecting Washington. Again, they played at home. The Huskies did earlier this season. The home field advantage shifting to Oregon, but Penix has great protection. He has to throw it away. Second and 10. Second and 10 at the 25. Receivers are out there. Dylan Johnson's back. There's Michael Penix Jr. And Oregon brings pressure. Penix looks flushed. And he gets it down to 83, who busts a tackle. Right there, that's Devin Culp. Underrated tight end. Listed as a starter, I think, for tonight's game. It's a good first down pickup. First and 10 at the 38. They're going to check their play. Bernard, McMillan, and Odunze are out there as receivers, along with Devin Culp, the big tight end. I mean, he's as big as Oregon's edge guys. Massive tight end. Penix with all the time in the world, and Odunze has it for about a gain of 10. No, gain of 11, actually. So now he has over 100 receiving yards on the day. Fake play action. Oregon only sends 3. And wide open is McMillan. Wow, that's going to end the third quarter. And the Huskies are in the red zone. I mean, they're just... That matchup that Washington has, they can exploit it. 1st and 10 at the Oregon 20. It's a 31-yard pass by Penix to McMillan. Vertical route. And McMillan beats his... He's matched up on a linebacker. That was Justin Jacobs in coverage. So end of the third quarter, Washington looks like they're driving down the field. They'll probably go for it on 4th down if they have to. Okay. Hey Sam, you got any spare blue gear for me to rock tomorrow? Yeah. You want me to mail it to you? Let's do it. This QB duo reminds me of Deshaun Watson versus Lamar Jackson in 2016. Well, that would imply right there that Washington's going to win because Watson is more like Penix and Jackson is more like Nix, just based off of the athletic profile. And yeah, blank name, Oregon is covering Odunze as much as they can, but this is the beauty of Washington. Washington right now is 2 100-plus yard receivers. Both Odunze and McMillan are averaging over 10 yards per catch, and they have over 100 receiving yards. I mean, Oregon and Washington have the same amount of passing attempts. Washington, though, has 4 more completions for 90 more yards. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. So, wow. Let's see. 24-20. And Washington is in the red zone. It's really right now it's the 4th down game along with Washington kicking 2 field goals and Oregon only kicking 1 that's determining this game. Oregon has been better at scoring touchdowns in the red zone and they've been better on 4th down. That's what's determining this matchup right now. Washington is still controlling TOP. They have about a 7-minute time of possession advantage. And if Washington wants to run the ball here and make a few short passes, they can probably break 30 minutes of possession on this drive. And that would be pretty critical. But this is a close game. And we're back. Who do you all think wins? Tell me in the comment section. All right, 1st and 10 at the 20. Let's see what Penix can do in that offense. Odunze, clean pocket. Ducks fall on it. It's going to be a fumble. Yup, fumble. Wow, that's game changing. So Washington's getting some empty yards. Let's see if his hand was moving forward when it was knocked out. Yeah, I think it's going to be an incomplete pass. Yeah, that's his arm's coming forward right. Yeah, I think that's an incomplete pass, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it looks like he was in throwing motion. Yeah, I think... Yup, that's a good call. Incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd and 10. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the Oregon 20. All right. I like Penix as a quarterback, so part of me is cheering for Washington. But may the best team win. Dylan Johnson's back there. Will they hand it off to him with the run? Yes, they will. And Johnson finds a way to get through the hole and pick up 7 yards. It'll be 3rd and 3. Now you got a chance where you can run or you can pass. They'll probably pass, but you can do either or. 3rd and 3 from the Oregon 13. What do you do? Kalen DeBoer is chewing his gum. They're huddling. Washington is 0 of 2 in 3rd downs in the second half. They've had a near turnover, an actual turnover, and they haven't scored any points yet in the second half. Odunze motions out. It's going to be a sprint out, a designed quarterback run for Penix, and Penix will be down at the 8. It'll be first and goal. Tough running by Penix. And, oh, that's not good. An Oregon defender's down. Wow. Ooh. Penix threw his back at the guy. Wow. Well, Oregon is 1st and goal, or Washington's 1st and goal at the Oregon 8. And it's a commercial break. All right, Dreamin' Digital says Oregon. Michael Valadez says Oregon. Michael Valadez says, I cannot believe Penix played in the Big Ten, LOL, Indiana out of all places. Oh, yeah. Penix right now is a 135 passer rating in this game, 256 passing yards, completing 70% of his passes. He is going to have an interception after tonight. I don't know if he'll have a single passing touchdown, but we'll see. He has been off. He's been off ever since that Oregon game. In his past 6 games, he has thrown 12 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Before that, he threw for 20 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That's the difference in the first half and second half of his season, which is just crazy, to say the least. Last year, he ran the football more last year than he did this season. He had 92 rushing yards last year, only 14, or negative 14 this year. I mean, I'm getting nervous and I'm not invested in either of these teams, but I picked Washington to reach the college football playoff in the preseason, and with me picking Oregon to win in my video, I sort of changed tune on that, but it'd be nice to see a preseason prediction of mine fall through. I don't know. (24-20). Combined 44 points. Well, if 21 more points are scored, the over will hit, and I could see that happening. But we'll have to see. First and goal. Dylan Johnson has the football. Tough running. 5-yard gain. Down at the 3. Second and goal. Wow. That's crazy. Second and goal from the 3. Washington banging on the door. This strong offensive line. Washington in this game has ran for 96 yards. Oregon has ran for over 100. Dylan Johnson, third and goal from the 1. Let's see what happens with Washington here. That was a wildcat formation run from the 3. Got 2 yards. Third and goal from the 1. Washington still burning some time off. Penix on the field. They will go for it. And you have to. With how Oregon's been operating, you have to be aggressive. Dylan Johnson, touchdown. That was easy. Right through the hole. It'll be 27-24, granted if the extra point is made. And for Dylan Johnson, second rushing touchdown of the day. 26-24 with the extra point coming up. And I will tell you, Washington's been winning the line of scrimmage. The only reason Oregon has more rushing yards is because of that long Bonick scramble. That's it. 27-24. And Washington is 28 minutes and 34 seconds of possession to Oregon's 19 minutes and 3 seconds. Washington is nearly a 10-minute possession advantage, which is insane. So Washington finally responds. It's much needed. But again, that 10-minute possession advantage, if you're Oregon, you cannot make a mistake. Because I think if you give the ball back to Washington the way they operated inside the 20, your defense is worn down. Your defense is tired. If Nebraska was in third and goal and Jeff Sims was the quarterback, I already know the defense recovered the ball. It's funny. This Oregon D just does not handle powerful runners well. They had a problem against Washington early in the season of it wasn't just the running backs for Washington. It was Washington's O-line was really opening up holes in the run game. Like Oregon's D-line and I think defense overall is built to rush the passer more than stop the run up front. That's just my opinion. And I think we've noticed that tonight is in the ground game, Washington's O-line feasts. In the passing game, they still have that pass pro advantage, but Oregon does a better job of getting pressure than halting the short intermediate run. Washington now is 99 rushing yards for 3.7 yards per carry and 2 rushing touchdowns. Wow. Good play. 27-24. Let's see. If you're Oregon, you do want a long drive. You do not... Scoring quickly, I think, would almost be more of a mistake than a blessing. Marcus Sutton, go Dogs. Like I said earlier, feed Johnson. Yes. Washington, despite the fact that they're not running for 4 yards per carry, it's clear to me they can run the football. And they can run the football consistently. Is it perfect? No, but it's helping them take control of the game. So that was a long touchdown drive, and now the Huskies are given a 55.9% chance to win per FPI. Yeah, Bo Nix shouldn't win. Look, maybe I'm wrong here. If Oregon loses this game, Bo Nix should not win the Heisman. Even if they win, I think Jaden Daniels should win it. Let me pull up Jaden Daniels' stats, just so I can explain how good he is. He's an elite player. Kickoff by Washington. Oregon will let it bounce out of the back of the end zone. Jaden Daniels is a 208 passer rating in the regular season. Barring a bad bowl performance, and he may opt out, he's going to go down in history as the most efficient passing quarterback by passer rating. And he has 1,134 rushing yards and 3,812 passing yards. He has 50 total touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he's been sacked 22 times, so he's not playing behind this elite offensive line either. But here we are. 12 minutes and 23 seconds before we know a winner or we're going to overtime. Bucky Irving will run and get about a gain of 6 or 7. Second and 3. Bo Nix going to dump it off to Irving. Bucky Irving gets a good angle, and that's a first down. 1st and 10 at the 35 for the Ducks. Oregon's O-line and Washington's O-line. This is the battle of Joe Moore Award caliber O-lines. It really is. 1st and 10 at the 35. They're going to run with Bucky Irving. And that'll be a loss of 1 for Bucky Irving. That'll be 2nd and 11. Interior tackles for Washington are tough. Wow. And Josh Connerly Jr. did not block up his guy well. Didn't. 2nd and 11. So Oregon a little off schedule now in the run game. Washington originally looked like they were bringing pressure, but then Oregon motioned out with Trayshawn Holden. Bucky Irving, gain of 2 on a screen pass. Could have been a tackle for loss, but Irving was able to use his moves to make it into something. Irving's a great running back. He is a very shifty, powerful, dedicated runner. He's a master of his craft. But now you're on a 3rd and 9, and do you punt here if you're Oregon, or do you straight up go for it? Like, are you all-out aggressive? What is your game plan? 8 seconds left on the play clock, less than 10 minutes in the game. Looks like pressure is going to be brought, and some pressure will be brought, and Nix is going to be tackled right at the line of scrimmage. It was an attempted QB draw. That tells me that Oregon wanted to go for it if they didn't get it. But they're going to get off the field. I think Oregon's going to punt this ball away. It's 4th and 9. That's killer right there. That is killer. That was an awesome play by Trice. 4th and 9. It'll be a punt. And since it's a bounce snap, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Huskies at their own 18. All right, commercial break, because people can't get enough of commercials, but it is what it is. All right, I'll be back. Oh, wow. Oh. Yeah. Well, Washington has a chance to, the way they're able to drive and chew clock, they have a good chance to put this game away right here on this drive. Currently, Washington leads by 3. They have 19 first downs to Oregon's 15. They have 28 minutes and 34 seconds of possession to Oregon's 22 minutes and 22 seconds. They have 359 total yards to Oregon's 288. Washington is 6 of 11 on 3rd down. Oregon is 3 of 10. And if you include 4th down, in total 3rd and 4th down efficiency, Oregon is 5 of 12. Washington is 6 of 12. Washington has 84 more passing yards and 13 less rushing yards than the Ducks do. That matchup for Washington, they've been using that. They've been using their matchup advantages in this game, and it's very clear. But let's see what the Huskies can do on this next drive. 9 minutes and 4 seconds remain. I'm anxious, Cello Helsis Marcus Sutton. I am too. I am too. A dream college game day lineup. Nebraska versus Michigan, either in Ann Arbor, or Lincoln with Connor from Corn Crazed and Sam in the panel. That would be an ultimate dream. It would be. Like for a top 10 Nebraska versus Michigan matchup. That'd be a dream. One day it'll happen. I'm going to say that with confidence. And if it doesn't, then oh well, honestly. Yeah, and yes, Marcus Sutton, you can say it again. I do not mind you supporting your team in the chat. Penix play action. Oregon tries to send pressure. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was an insane catch. Jalen Polk with a 26-yard reception. That was a risky pass by Penix. Polk, number 2, was on number 25 for Oregon. That was Nico Reed. And Reed could have had a pick, but Polk just put his hands right in Reed's chest and got that ball. 1st and 10 for Washington at their own 43. That's a big play. That's a massive play right there. And they're going to run with Dylan Johnson, who finds his way again to get 5 yards. He just finds a way to gain yardage on the ground, and I think now Washington is over 100 rushing yards on Oregon. Just finding a way to keep this defense honest. Less than 8 minutes left in the game. This Oregon defense gotta feel tired. All right, let's see. Johnson motions to Penix's left. Still in the backfield as a running back. And Penix is going to take it as a designed run. And Penix will gain 7. He runs for a first down. We have not seen Penix run much this season, but they're using him. And now Washington is in Oregon territory. They're averaging close to 4 yards per carry now, keeping this Oregon defense honest and chewing some of that clock to keep them on the field. They have over 30 minutes of possession now, just updated by ESPN. So Washington, no matter what, will win the TOP battle today, and that's a great step for winning a game, is winning time of possession. Play action, Penix, deep, and Polk again inside the 30. Gain of 20, about. Found the soft spot in the zone. They were at the 45, 44. Polk just finds his way through the zone, and that is a gain of, 20, 21 yards. Wow. So Jalen Polk is getting involved in the game now. Only about 6 minutes left in this game. A touchdown here will be difficult to overcome. McMillan gets about a gain of 4, maybe 5. Now Washington now is in control of their own destiny. You score a touchdown here, the fate of the game is basically in your hands. Oregon still with all 3 timeouts, though. Fake play action again. McMillan first down. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 14. Another first down conversion. And he went out of bounds, but the clock will continue to run. Oregon now Washington with a 10-minute possession advantage. This defense is tired. They're having to run all over the field, and Washington is spreading them out. And you can do this. This is why Washington matches up well, I would say, with any team in the country offensively outside of Ohio State, whose secondary is just that good. Johnson with the carry, and he gets about 8 or 9 yards on the ground. Holy cow. It will be 2nd and 1 at the 5. Washington is just working Oregon in the ground game and the play action pass. It's crazy. Got a feel for these Oregon players on defense. Their offense has not been able to produce drives Because now you got 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the game left. And if Washington gets a touchdown here, it's not over, but it's close. Incomplete. 4:18 remaining. It'll be 3rd and 1. He threw a fade up to Odunze, Penix did. Penix has 311 passing yards. Washington right now is 436 total yards, 23 first downs. They have 33 minutes and 20 seconds of possession. That's exactly a 10-minute, 58-second possession advantage. You run. You run here if you're Washington. You run. Because I don't think Oregon's stopping you. Yup. And they got it. They got it. Oregon is too tired to stop him. Dylan Johnson run for 1 yard. 1st and goal at the Oregon 4. Now you run. You probably run. Wildcat. Bring in Will Nixon and you just pound the rock and I bet you score. Because I don't think, that's a 2-yard push right there. That was essentially a 2-yard push, but only a gain of 1 by this Washington O-line. Dylan Johnson's still in there. It's 1st and goal from the 3. Dylan Johnson. Bernard gets about maybe a yard or a half yard, but still inbounds. The clock will continue to run. Oregon defense is tired. Another Wildcat formation. 2nd and goal. Only 3 minutes remaining. This is crazy. Washington has essentially marched down the field, imposed their will. And he'll throw it away. Yeah, that stinks. That gave Oregon, in a sense, a free timeout. Third and goal from the Oregon 2. Do you run it and go for it on 4th down? Or do you run it, try and burn some more clock off and gain a 6-point lead? What do you do? Win and you're in. That's the beauty of these stakes. Devin Culp motions out. Touchdown! Touchdown! That was a beautiful play design right there. That was Quentin Moore. And Washington's up 33-24, and they just took they basically took 7 minutes of clock off, is what they did. What a play for him, number 88. That's beautiful. Faked the block, got off his man, and Washington's controlled this 4th quarter like they did the first half. Wow. 6 minutes and 20 seconds. 6 minutes and 20 seconds of possession on that drive. Washington right now is a 34 minute and 54-second possession advantage. No matter what, they'll end the game with 10 more minutes of TOP. And that, I'm going to say, is why they won. They tired Oregon's defense out. Oregon played better than Washington in their first matchup, but failed on the 4th downs. Washington is just, outside of 1 quarter, been the better team. It's crazy. You hated the play calling there, but the touchdown was great. Marcus Sutton, Harold Riggins, and DeMoney 5675. You all and me alike. Let's go. I picked Oregon to win this game, but with how Washington played in that first half, I was kind of pulling for them to come out and win because you enjoy seeing and a team like Washington who just wills their way to win. I thought Washington was going to the playoff this season, and they've even proven me wrong in being better than I expected them to be. A 13-0 Washington, a team that at their ceiling could probably beat anyone in the country. They match up well with most teams because teams care more about trench play than they do perimeter play. The championship teams do that. Well, the funny thing about Washington is built to beat teams who are better in the trenches than in the perimeter. They're built to beat championship contending teams. Because they're built to, whether it's Georgia over the past 2 seasons where their weakness defensively was secondary and receiver outside of Brock Bowers. Washington just matches up well with so many championship caliber teams. The only team they don't, I think, is Ohio State, and that's because Ohio State is stronger at perimeter play than they are in trench play. They have a better secondary than they do D-line. They have a better receiver core than they do O-line. And even then, I mean, with this performance here, I'm telling you, wow. Beautiful. And now Washington is given a 99.3% chance to win this game. Akini Obi. Everyone was doubting Washington, but Kalen DeBoer is an effing masterclass coach. He is. He is. And Washington hasn't won this game yet, but in all likelihood they will. And despite the fact that I thought Kalen DeBoer was a better coach, I didn't pick him. I got this one wrong. Part of me's glad I did. Yeah, elite QB plus elite wide receiver can beat anyone. This is the story of Ohio State teams over the past 2 seasons. They didn't win the national title because they fell to teams with inferior overall talent. And they weren't as tough as Michigan or Oregon in those 2 regular season losses. That's the thing. Ohio State the past 2 seasons lacked toughness in the trenches, but they had the elite QB and wide receiver play. Washington has the elite QB and wide receiver play, but then they have that great, tough trench play too. That's hard to stop. That is really hard to stop. All right. Well, if you're Bo Nix, if you're Oregon, you have to play the perfect game in the final 2 minutes and 44 seconds. And if you're Washington, do not play prevent. Play your standard base defense. I mean, you have bullied Oregon for 45 minutes of the game. Just do what you do. Nix. Pressured. He slides. Slides for a first down. Clock will continue to run. If you're Washington, you can allow Oregon to score, but do it with probably under 1:30 seconds, preferably. Nix throwing, and it's caught. Trayshawn Holden. No touch. Wow, that was an anti-clutch play by that Washington secondary. It's not over. Yup, that's a touchdown. He didn't step out of bounds. That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. Wow. Poor coverage. And Trayshawn Holden. That's crazy. He deserves the touchdown. Yeah, wow. I mean, that changed the whole dynamic of the game, that poor coverage. That was crazy. Yeah, that's a touchdown. That is a touchdown. Yeah, that's a touchdown. Yeah, that's a touchdown. So it'll be 34-31. Yeah, now if you're Washington, you gotta... I mean, all you have to do is really pick up one first down if you're Washington. Wow. That was an incredible, incredible catch and run by Trayshawn Holden. I still think Michigan OSU is the game of the year. But this is pretty close. All right. 34-31 Washington, 2:14 left in the game. Oh, someone gave me a super chat. Let me see. Looking for that super chat. I saw that someone gave me a super chat, but I don't see it. Ah. Lost Angels, thank you again for the $2. Looking like a Washington win. That's nuts. Thank you. I didn't see that super chat for whatever reason, but thank you very much, the Lost Angels, for that $2. I appreciate the support. They're going to onside kick. Wow. Interesting to kick it onside. Interesting. I think that's an analytics thing. Yeah, let's see. I mean, that onside kick, interesting call. Interesting call, but we'll see. Oregon has all their players within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they are going to run, and Dylan Johnson gets 3 yards. You go for this. If it's 4th and 1, you go for it. Wow. This is a good game. All right. Second and 7. Has a deep safety back there, but it looks like they're going to send everyone. Dylan Johnson gets about 2 or 3 yards. It'll be 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. My question is, do you run? Do you pass? All right, 3rd and 4 from the Oregon 49. Can Washington pay it off? He's back there. Oregon sends pressure. They throw, and it's caught out of bounds. 1st down. But he is out of bounds, so the clock stops. That gives Oregon a timeout. But that is killer. Wow. What a clutch reception by Jalen McMillan. Wow. That's going to be a hold, probably on Washington. Minute 52 remaining in this game. I mean, if you're Oregon, you probably get the ball back with 30 seconds. And Lanning will spend the final timeout. There is an injured Washington player. That stinks. Oh, that stinks. Okay. You know, Oregon does not have much hope here. Whew. This is the final Pac-12 Championship game. The last. It'll be 3rd and 8. Be about a minute when they snap it. That's Jeremy Bernard. And they're going to take a timeout. One minute and 1 second left from being 13-0. Washington would have one of the most impressive resumes in college football if they win this game. Multiple top 10 wins. I think multiple. Yeah. They'd have one of the most impressive strength of records, that's for sure. Alrighty. And Johnson's off. That's a first down. And that's game. That's game. That is game right there. Wow. What a game for Dylan Johnson. He broke that tackle. 18-yard run. That is crazy. Yeah, I regret picking against him, but it is what it is. I at least picked him to cover. I knew that they weren't going to blow out Washington, and instead it was Washington who won. 34-31. You know, when you beat a good team twice, you are the better team. Washington's the better team than Oregon. Make no mistake about it. I know this won't be the case, but there is no way that Oregon should be power rated over Washington after this game, because Washington dominated. And it was because of talent and some busted, unsustainable plays that Oregon was able to stay in this. Washington wins. They are 13-0. They are a lock for the college football playoffs. A lock. And Holly Rao is going to be talking to Michael Penix Jr. And what a leader he is. He's a very impressive player. And he may not be the best player in the country. I don't think he is. But I can tell you, he's elite, not just as a player, but as a man. And you gotta love everything about Washington this year. You have to. I mean, they are an easy to root for team. There's a Dunze too. I really like the blonde cornrows. That's his hairstyle. It's pretty cool. Wow. What do you all think? Will Bo Nix win the Heisman? Jadaman asks. I think Jaden Daniels is winning it. That's just my personal opinion, though. That's just my opinion. And welcome, Washington and Oregon fans. Welcome to the Big Ten. Welcome to the Big Ten. And Marcus Sutton, I am happy for you. Go Dogs. Go Dogs. And the Lost Angels, yeah, if Oregon somehow won this game or somehow could get into the playoffs, I went from being scared of them as a Michigan fan to now I wouldn't flinch if Michigan was facing them. I wouldn't. That is how much Washington controlled this game outside of that third quarter. And the Oregon players are sad, and they should be. Not only did they lost 2 times to their rival, the same team. Kalen DeBoer is now 3-0 against Dan Lanning. 3-0. Despite Lanning having the better talent. All across the board. Kalen DeBoer is a top 10 head coach. I said that in the preseason, and I'm glad I have that opinion right now. He is going to be one of the best head coaches in the Big Ten next season, and the job that he's done at Washington is nothing short of unbelievable. Nothing short of that. Washington ended the day with 36 minutes and 44 seconds of possession. They had a 14-minute possession advantage. You do not win a football game when your opponent has 14 more minutes of possession than you do. You don't do it. The fact that Oregon was only down by 3 despite that possession disadvantage is insane and shows how good of skill position talent and how high their offensive upside is. But that's domination. Washington had 118 more total yards, 9 more first downs. The turnover margin was even. Washington was a combined 10 of 16 on 3rd and 4th down. Oregon was 5 of 12. Washington won by 3 in both games, but whereas last game Oregon slightly outplayed them, and it was just a few mistakes that cost them, in this game it was Washington who led, who commanded, and it was a few mistakes on Washington's end who kept Oregon in this football game. So good game. Unbelievable. And for Kalen DeBoer and for Michael Penix and for Washington football, as long as you're not facing my Michigan Wolverines, I will be cheering for you. And I am done doubting you. I picked Oregon to win this game. I picked Oregon State to beat you when you met up with them. I picked you to win every other game, including the original game against Oregon. You did it. You're going to the playoffs. And just good for Kalen DeBoer. And for Dan Lanning, it stinks. But he's young, and Dan Lanning will figure it out. Dan Lanning is also a top 10, I think. Maybe not top 10, but I think certainly top 15, top 20 head coach. Could very well be top 10. This Oregon team is a much better Oregon team compared to last year, but Washington is also better this year than they were last year. So they're going to go to the playoffs, and let me know in the comments below if you want me to make an instant reaction to this game, and I could probably have it up by like 1 a.m., an instant reaction to this game. Or do you want me to post it tomorrow at 8 a.m.? Let me know right now, because this isn't my instant reaction. I mean, it kind of is, but I want to make an actual video about it. Let me know what you think. Did you flip your profile photo upside down? What LOL? Said Washington deserves this one, pains me to say. A person, sleep if you have to. Yeah. Marcus Sutton, my voice is gone. You always have a humble and honest take, Sam. I appreciate it. Even when you said Oregon was better, I agreed. I think otherwise now. I think that because Oregon has more 4 and 5 stars and they've recruited better, that Oregon consistently is able to play at a higher level. But I think Washington has the higher ceiling based off of how they've played. Washington is the story of a team that has a lower floor than Oregon does. On average, they don't play as well. But when both teams play at peak efficiency, I think Washington's the better team. And that's what matters. Because now for Washington, if you can play 2 games at peak efficiency, you can win a national title. You can defy the blue chip ratio. Why? Because you have elite trench play and you have elite skill position play. 4 and 5 stars do not matter if you have those things. Right now, you would run on Georgia. You would probably be one of the few passing offenses that could pass on Georgia's secondary. You have a D-line that's good enough to challenge most college football playoff level offenses. I don't know if I'd pick you to win it all. In fact, I'm inclined to say well, who knows? Maybe I will. I probably won't, because I think Michigan's decisively better. Michigan, like Washington, and unlike Oregon, has a very impressive strength of schedule. They've taken down and controlled top 10 competition. But we'll have to see. Washington right now is going to replace Oregon as probably my second best team in the country unless Georgia just smashes Alabama. And even then, that's probably not the case because I think Oregon's much better than Alabama is. So we'll just have to see. But thank you all for coming on and supporting the channel. I love college football. I'm excited. Go Blue, a person. Go Blue, downtown NB. Go Dogs. Go Huskies. Someone said, yes, do it now. The game is definitely worth a reaction. It doesn't need to be tonight, though. It'll either be tonight or tomorrow morning, because that'll get the most views. All right. And then there will be a deep reaction and analysis for this game on Sunday, but there will be an instant shorter reaction either late tonight or early tomorrow. Have a great day, guys. I love you all very much, and I will see you around. Go Dogs. Go Washington. And for Michael Penix Jr., you'll probably never see this, but you're one of my favorite players because your humility can't be surpassed. And for Roma Dunze, as someone who's also blonde, rock on. Be that elite wide receiver. Have a great night, guys.